It's Game 5 of the NHL Soviet Series. Dobrovicher. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our CTV coverage of what has been an exciting and entertaining series. Tonight, the Minnesota North Stars attempt to give the NHL its third win in the 6-game series.
The Calgary Flames brought the NHL even, getting 3 power play goals on Sunday night. The Minnesota North Stars power play is certainly comparable with that of Calgary. If the Stars could play with the same intensity as the Flames, indeed as the Minnesota Vikings last night, the NHL could take the lead.
But for the NHL to take the lead, Minnesota's going to have to crack Tretiak. Thus far in the series, goaltending has been a major factor. Moog, Lemlin, Edwards, all with superlative play for Edmonton and Calgary. Tretiak with back-to-back shutouts, Quebec and Montreal. Marcus Matson, who's had the most experience of any North Star goalie in international competition, will see action tonight. Hopefully he can stop the Russians.
So from the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota, we're all anxiously awaiting the start of tonight's game.
NHL Soviet Series 83. Brought to you by Labatt's, brewers in Canada since 1828.
Dreams fly high on a blue winter sky. Let the feeling surround you. Dreams come along, this is where you belong. Let the feeling surround you. Take a while and share a smile, a snowy interlude, this magic winter mood.
Welcome back to the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota, where tonight the North Stars play the Soviet Nationals. The North Stars are ready. They had quite a pep talk earlier today in the dressing room as General Manager Lou Nanne addressed them.
Some of you guys have probably watched the game, the first game against Edmonton. But one thing about all these games, you can expect them to play the game at a high tempo. The most important thing to remember is not to take a night off or a shift off, because you're going to get burned. Every shift that they come out there, they like to have the momentum going for them. They like to have speed going for them. They always operate at the highest speed possible. What they're going to try and do in every situation is get you in an outnumbered situation. They love to operate 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s. Their pattern of attack is always to go down to one player, get 2-on-1, and make a play on him. Defensemen, don't give the blue line. If you crisscross, when they come along to crisscross at our blue line, you can't sag in. If you give them our zone, that's the way they want to operate. That's why we need that forward back. The two fellas that you really have to watch shooting, Fedosov from the blue line shoots a lot, extremely hard. Vasilyev, number 6. He's the one guy, even on a drop pass, he might elect not to drop pass to shoot it. Goaltenders, he's got an excellent wrist shot. He shoots a great deal. The key to the whole game is concentration and execution. You've got to concentrate and you've got to execute. You can know what they're going to do, but unless you execute, we're going to have problems. So we've got to concentrate. We've got to operate at a high level like they do, high tempo. And one thing, no stupid penalties. I don't want to see you going in and using your elbows or high sticks or slapping guys in the face. Play the game properly. Hit them hard and take the body consistently. No stupid penalties. We don't want them killing us.
The comments of Lou Nanne, the general manager of the North Stars, and with us now, the coach of the Winnipeg Jets, Tom Watt. And Tom, your assessment of the series up to this point?
Well, I think it's been kind of a turnaround, certainly after Edmonton winning the first hockey game and then Tretiak going in the nets and 2 offensive teams, both Montreal and Quebec, not being able to score goals. I found it quite strange that the Soviets changed their goaltenders after those 2 games. But one of the things that makes Minnesota successful in the National Hockey League is their specialty teams. They have a very good power play. They work very well on it. They've got some key people in Broughton and Cicerelli. Hartsburg does a good job, and they actually have 2 units. When Smith's unit comes out, they also do a good job. They've got good penalty killing as well. And those 2 specialty units, when you're playing the Soviets, just like the game in Calgary when the power plays were so important to the outcome of the game, I think the same can be said for the Minnesota North Stars tonight. And but I think that's going to be their ace in the hole. I think Minnesota have very good specialty teams, and I think they can counter the Soviets in both of these areas.
Tom, if it gets into a freewheeling situation, the North Stars are a very good skating hockey team. They can skate with the Soviets.
Well, their forwards can. I'm not always sure about all their defensemen. I felt that was one of the reasons Edmonton was successful. Edmonton has a very mobile, offensive-minded defense, and when they get caught, they're fast enough to get back. I think that's true of a lot of the defensemen in Minnesota, but certainly not all of them. That might have been one of the reasons for Quebec having a little more problem, and the same with Montreal, but a very fast forward unit for Minnesota.
Okay, Tom, we're looking forward to the game here at Bloomington, Minnesota. And now let's go to ice level and the introduction of the starting lineups for the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's game between the Minnesota North Stars and the Soviet All-Stars. Let's meet the participants in this evening's contest. First, the Soviet All-Star team. In goal, number 20, Vladislav Tretiak. At defense, number 2, Vyacheslav Fedosov. At number 7, Alexei Kasatonov. Playing forward for the Soviet All-Stars, number 9, Vladimir Krutov. At number 11, Igor Larionov. At number 28, Viktor Tumenev. Coaching the Soviet All-Stars, Viktor Tikhonov. And the rest of the Soviet team. And now here is the starting lineup for our Minnesota North Stars. Starting in goal, number 1, Marcus Mattsson. At defense, number 2, Kurt Giles. And number 4, Craig Hartsburg. At center, number 7, Neil Broughton. At wing, number 11, Tom McCarthy. At number 20, Dino Cicerelli. The coach of the North Stars is Glenn Sonmore, and the balance of the North Star team. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the colors of both countries this evening are members of the Minnesota North Starlets. We invite you to rise and face the east end of the arena for the playing of the Soviet national anthem. ladies and gentlemen, please join organist Sue Nelson and Jim Bowers in singing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Kmart. Dollar Days. Slashed prices. Kmart price. On hundreds of items throughout the store. Your savings store. Extra savings. Kmart savings. In every department during Dollar Day. At Kmart. Check your newspaper supplement for the prices. Low prices. And save. Save during Dollar Day. Dollar Days. Now through Saturday. At Kmart.
When you use a courier service overnight to the States, you may think your shipment's in reliable hands. Well, that may not always be true. They can use forwarders, commercial airlines, and methods that are ingenious, but sometimes not too reliable. Now there's Federal Express. They're so reliable, they guarantee overnight delivery, or you don't pay. Now isn't that ingenious?
For years, I was practically chained to a desk until my doctor ordered me to relax once in a while. Get away. Today, I'm a different man. I've even changed my eating habits. Now I eat sensibly. And I've started using Fleischmann's margarine. My favorite's made with 100% pure corn oil. That's important to me. Because I'm enjoying this life and all the good things that go with it. And that includes Fleischmann's.
Fleischmann's. And for sodium-reduced diets, there's Fleischmann's Unsalted.
The Soviet Union, with losses to Edmonton and Calgary and victories over Quebec and Montreal, are tied at 2 games apiece in this 6-game series against the National Hockey League. The 5th game here tonight at the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota. And the wind-up game, we'll have that for you too on Thursday night from the Spectrum in Philadelphia. But I know Lou Nanny is the general manager of these North Stars. This is a big night for your team.
Well, it certainly is, Don, and I think one of the keys is going to be Marcus Madsen. He's going to have to get comfortable early. Hopefully he's going to get some shots from a ways out so that he can handle them, get into the game, because this is the first time he's been up here all year, but he's got a great deal of experience against him.
Well, the man at the other end of the ice, and there he is, quite a story. Tretiak in goal has shut out the National Hockey League back-to-back in his 2 appearances here. In fact, they have not scored on him in North America since the 2nd period of the '81 Canada Cup final. So he's got a scoreless streak now of 151 minutes and 52 seconds entering this game tonight. And there is young Madsen with experience against the Soviets. 25 years of age, his 3rd season here in the National Hockey League, starting for the North Stars tonight. A native of Tampere, Finland.
Marcus had a real good game, Don, against the Soviet team. He beat them 4-3 just before last year's World Tournament. He's beat their club teams twice. He has played against many of these fellows. He knows them. The main thing about him is not to be so concerned about the Soviets. He's going to have to just play his own game, play the way he has been playing for us down in Birmingham, where he's been playing superbly.
The referee is Bob Myers. He calls the teams to center ice now. Kevin Collins and Bob Luther are the linesmen. And the Soviets will start with their most productive line. including their top scorer in the series so far. There's the story on Tretiak, as we told you a moment ago. And Krutov is the top Soviet scorer with 5 points in the 4 games, 2 goals and 3 assists. Larionov right behind him, the outstanding center man. Timonev, the third member of that top Soviet line, their defense pair, Kazatonov and Fetisov, the captain, number 2. For the North Stars, Neil Broughton brings his line out. And we are underway at the Met Center in Game 5 of the series. A fast break inside the line. Broughton could not control the puck against Fetisov. Dino Cicerelli trying to jam it in there. Digs it free, popped it out. Nobody there. And here comes Krutov starting a play for the Soviet Union. Timonev sweeps inside the line. Got taken down by Kurt Giles, number 2, falling along the board. Ahead for Cicerelli. Feeding it for Broughton. Too far for him. Soviets bounce it back out to center ice where they fight for it and freeze it against the boards. And now, an early penalty call coming up from referee Bob Myers. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in just a moment.
This is an ordinary sponge. Lots of stores sell sponges. But when you buy one from Canadian Tire, you're getting the very best sponge you can get for the money. Because Canadian Tire guarantees its quality. Now, you might say that guaranteeing an 89-cent sponge is not very important. Maybe not. Except for one thing. Everything I've just said about this sponge can also be said for everything Canadian Tire sells. Everything.
There's a lot more to Canadian Tire than tires.
Now, aren't you glad I told you about the sponge?
You'll see Giles along the boards get checked and freezing the puck. Dino's going to come in, and he takes one little cross-check right here, but then he's not content. He takes another one. That's not a very smart penalty. That's what we're talking about, and you don't want to give the Soviets an advantage that early.
Absolutely, Lou. An unnecessary penalty just 36 seconds in. Indeed, the Soviets do have the advantage. North Stars forced to play in with Eves in the corner. He's got Klett with him. Or Payne. Timonev, as the top Soviet line, remains on the ice. Works it to the blue line, no further. Larionov leading it back there for Kazatonov, the defenseman. Now sends Timonev away with Krutov on his right. Krutov sweeping in on goal, cutting in behind. Makes his play back to Fetisov. He likes to shoot from the point, lets it go, and it's deflected up into the crowd. A face-off in the Minnesota zone.
Well, Soviets starting out the same way as we take a look at Al McAdam, one of the noted Minnesota penalty killers. They like to get that puck to the point. They try to screen in front, set up a screen in front of Matson, took the shot, was deflected over the glass. Eves and McAdam, very good skaters up front. If they get the puck, they'll try and control it. They like to put pressure in the Soviet zone, and that way they can kill part of the penalty.
Face-off picked up by Kurt Giles. The North Stars defenseman leaves it there in the Minnesota corner. Krutov, Larionov can't get it to him. Here comes Mike Eves. It goes down the ice. A minute and 10 seconds left in Cicerelli's penalty. Soviets passing it ahead blindly. North Stars bring it back down to their zone again. Shot in there by Dan Mandich. Minnesota with the only 20 healthy players they could muster for this game tonight. Dressing just 20. Past Ferguson down to the Soviet corner. The Soviets, who've been effective on 4 of 21 power play chances, not looking very impressive so far on this one, being tied up by the North Stars, one of the NHL's better penalty-killing teams. And back down it goes by Hartsburg. 30 seconds left now, and the penalty for cross-checking to Cicerelli. Soviets shoot it down the ice. They will be called for icing, an unpardonable sin on the power play with 22 seconds left of the penalty.
Well, the unit of Ferguson and Young that just went off there is more dangerous offensively when they're killing penalties. These two, McAdam and Eves, will play with the puck more. Both units, however, as we look at Victor Tikhonov just checking how much time left in the penalty, both units will try and pressure you so you make errors in your own defensive zone.
Mike Eves moving in for the face-off, wins the draw back to Hartsburg, dumps it down in the corner, hops over Eves' stick in there. Now Pervukin getting it ahead to Kapustin. He is taken down by McAdam. 7 seconds left in Cicerelli's penalty. Back to the blue line for Pervukin. Cicerelli steps on the ice. Minnesota's back at full strength. Brought in by Chalamot. Bodied hard as he got inside the line. Now a chance for the Stars. Here is Smith trying to get around. Pervukin cannot do so. Back inside they come. Trying to feed it right in front. Oh, a great scoring chance there. The puck hopping over the stick of Smith, and back come the Soviets. Kapustin. Getting around Mandich. Trying to dump it out in front. Shot behind the goal. Back to the point. Slap shot. Blocked by the goalie Matson. Delayed penalty now. It'll be called against Minnesota as the Stars bring it out. Their second penalty of the game. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
When you're feeling up and your friends are near, get a love-ass light, love-ass light. All you want in a beer, all you want in a beer. Now ain't that nice, so nice. Love-ass light on ice, love-ass light on ice. Tastes light and smooth, so smooth, and goes down so nice, and goes down so nice. Get a love-ass light.
Well, the North Stars will be shorthanded again. Mandich in front of the net, an interference penalty. You see him going over to the Russian forward, knocking him down, and Matson makes a save. Mandich going to the penalty box. The Russians on the second power play of the evening. Dan Mandich, a youngster out of Ohio State University, first-year pro.
North Stars just killing off the penalty to Cicerelli. Will have to endure the Soviet power play again, but the Soviets did not look terribly impressive. Getting off to a slow start on this power play. A high stick brought about that whistle, and they'll bring the faceoff back into the Soviet zone.
That's right. When you're a man advantage and you have a high stick, knock the puck down like that and play it, the puck goes all the way down into your own defensive zone. The Soviets, as we were saying earlier, like to capitalize on the shooter from the high slot or the point on the power play, but they haven't had the opportunity to do that thus far in these two penalties.
Vyacheslav Bykov wins the draw against Tim Young. Now Starikov starting Bykov away. Two North Stars there to hound him and break it up at the Soviet blue line. Vasilyev, one of the series' most impressive performers, gives it to Zubkov. Now away on the right side is Bykov, being squeezed off on the boards by Ferguson. Still inside the North Star zone. They get it across. The shot by Mikhailov goes high into the crowd with 1:27 left in the penalty, the second of the game to the Minnesota North Stars.
Good play there by George Ferguson and Gordy Roberts, not allowing the Soviet forward to come too close into the zone. He was able to check him at the blue line, force a shot from way out. Ferguson deflecting that puck over the glass. As we look at Timmy Young, who's been doing a lot of penalty killing and power play units for the Minnesota North Stars this year.
Mike Eaves on the faceoff, back to the Minnesota corner and promptly shot down the ice. Tretiak has extended his scoreless string by almost 4 minutes now to this first period. No score in the game. North Stars again doing an impressive job of backing the Soviets up on the USSR power play. Krutov away from McAdam on the right side. Feeds it back to Fedosov to his left. Now Timonev breaking out of there to Krutov inside the line. They get a lot of ice time, these three. Fedosov contains the puck there. Passing it down to the left side for Krutov. Away over to Kazatanov. He booms the slap shot. Rebound. Larionov shot blocked by the defense and cleared out over the blue line. Another penalty call, though, by the referee, Bob Myers.
Playing the puck over his shoulder, so the faceoff will go down.
So it's no penalty. Myers has made the call of the three on the ice. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Chevy's #1 and determined to keep it that way. So #1 is taking charge with the driving excitement of the all-new Chevy Cavalier TBI. With new computer-controlled throttle body fuel injection, responsive new 2-liter engine, and Cavalier's new positive 5-speed transmission. Cavalier TBI, a special edition for Canada, styled to match its driving excitement from Chevrolet.
Now your Chevy dealers taking charge with low 12.9% financing on new 82s and 83s.
From the face-off, it is shot back down the ice again by the North Stars. Back come the Soviets. Just 10 seconds left now in the penalty as Krutov went down hard into the boards in behind. Tim Young with it for Minnesota. Getting some help from Gordy Roberts. And around for Giles. Long pass too far from Mandich out at center ice, rolling down the ice. Stars back at full strength. Soviets, Fedosov touching it. Minnesota called for icing.
Well, as we look at Fedosov, probably as fine a defenseman as there is in the game today and one of the outstanding shooters on the Soviet defense, we have to realize that at almost 5 minutes of play here, the North Stars really haven't had a chance to use any of their lines, having killed 2 penalties. This sort of gets some of the players a little stiff. You want to get everybody out there as early as you can in these games.
From the face-off, Zlutkov leaves it there. Babinov holding it in for the Soviets. Trust to Zlutkov, a quick shot blocked by the defense. Minnesota endeavoring to clear with Bobby Smith unable to get his stick on it. Now across for Varnikov. Over on the far boards, it is cleared in behind the Minnesota net. Indeed, plenty of pressure against the Stars in the first 5 minutes and 45 seconds of action. 2 power plays they have killed off successfully. But not much opportunity to generate some offense. In the center ice area, this is Mikhail Varnikov. Passing it again, nobody up there. Mandich shoots it back in. He's got a teammate offside, and they call it as such right there at the Soviet blue line.
Well, Mandich had that puck just over the red line. He saw he was the last man, and if you're going to be pressured and you don't know what to do with it, you just as soon take a whistle, and that's what he did. He flipped it in the zone with Minnesota going offside. There's Bobby Smith, first-round draft pick 4 years ago. In fact, first overall, leading scorer for Minnesota 3 of the last 4 years.
And a man who faced the Soviets and helped to beat them. Neil Broughton, a member of the U.S. Olympic team, wins the faceoff there as the puck's in the Soviet zone. Pervukin takes a bump into the boards. Passed it out for Shepelev. He can't make a play. Now they'll try this side. Number 8, Sergei Kapustin. Kapustin's long relay on the right side is to Shalimov inside the blue line. Down to the corner it slides. He's ridden off by Gordy Roberts. Kapustin against Cicerelli gets it back to Pervukin. His shot, Matson blocks that. Now a holding call is the indication from referee Bob Myers, who is certainly not hesitant in calling penalties in the early minutes of this game. Shepelev, he's been in all the games in this series, in his 22nd national game for the Soviet Union. And now the Soviets take their first penalty as Kapustin steps into the penalty box.
That Shepelev, one of the stars in the Soviet triumph in the Canada Cup, had a hat trick. Outstanding young centerman. They use him even to kill penalties up front. Very good offensively.
For the first time tonight, we'll see the Minnesota power play. The penalty was for holding against Sergei Kapustin of the Soviet Union. As we approach the 7-minute mark of the first period, we are scoreless here at the Met Center. Brought in on the right side, down the boards, the pass for Brian Bellows. In behind, here is Young on the point, trapping it in there. Lets the shot go. Vidyaletdinov blocking it and bringing it back for the Soviet Union. Shepelev, trying to kill time, is checked at the blue line. Shalimov forechecks the puck all the way down to the Minnesota corner. So the Stars power play starting indeed slowly here. 45 seconds gone in the penalty to Kapustin. Hartsburg, having difficulty, gives the puck up briefly. Then the pass came out for Bellows. Back in the slot, they cannot get a good shot away. Smith got turned around. The Soviets roll it to the blue line, but Young keeps it in. Young closing in, across the face of the goal mouth. Shot by Tretiak. Rebound comes out, picked up by Shalimov. Close call for Tretiak right there from point-blank range. Soviets bring it back down. Shot rolling wide from Viktor Zlutkov. 35 seconds to go, and the Soviet penalty as Tim Young heads up a play. Long pass at the line. Over on the right boards, Broughton cruising in front of the goal. They can't get the puck to him. Cicerelli now has it to Broughton. Feeding it back here for Tom McCarthy. McCarthy swings in behind. Tried his pass out, being blocked there by Bykov. Minnesota player going down. Here's Splett getting it over and keeping it in. Broughton in front for the rebound. Couldn't get his stick on it, nor could McCarthy. Roberts now will close in and let his shot go. That's blocked by players in front of the net. Penalty is over. Play still inside the Soviet zone. The shot deflected off target. Flett for Cicerelli too far. Now it is Zlutkov in the center ice area. Feeding it back in for Zubkov. Soviet player falling as he hit the line. That was Sfortsov. But Minnesota certainly very dangerous on that last power play with a couple of real outstanding scoring opportunities. Now Broughton digs it ahead. As the Stars indicate, they'll change on the go. We approach the midway mark of period one. No score. Minnesota and the Soviet national team. Vasiliev to Starikov. Back off Roberts' stick for Vasiliev and down to the Minnesota corner. Maxwell leaving it for Roberts. Now around to Brad Maxwell again. Good forechecking by the Soviets. Cops it up. Vasiliev shot wide. The dangerous Vasiliev cruising in, blasted one wide into the crowd. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Chevrier with Lou Nanny with you from the broadcast booth here in the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota, where the snow is piled up outside but melting gradually under fairly balmy temperatures today in the high 30s, low 40s in this area. More to come. Inside, it's certainly warm and comfortable here as the Stars battle the Soviets. Puck in the Soviet corner. Bringing it out now is Larionov, that dangerous center man to Timonev. Krutov on the left cruising in. Here's Kazatanov leaving it. Fedosov winding for the shot. He shot wide. Soviets shooting more frequently, but quite often inaccurately from those point positions. Fedosov being bumped in there now by Ferguson in the corner and tied up. Ferguson fed it around the left side. Now the pass back to him at center right. Shoots it inside the Soviet zone. 9 minutes and 35 seconds to go in the first period. They will tie it up there. It pops free. Getting to it first was Timonev. Timonev leaving it for Kazatanov. Now Fedosov. Ahead for Krutov. Couldn't get his stick on it. Ferguson taking his time will play it back as the Soviets do so often. This time the Stars wait to form their play. Have it inside the line. A Hartsburg shot blocked. Rebound. Steve Payne couldn't get a shot off the rebound. Goes down in the corner in a pile. They'll whistle it down with 9:04 to play in the period.
Well, there's Brian Bellows, the second draft pick overall this season. Gord Kluzak going first. Played junior in Kitchener last year. Much heralded, probably as much publicity for a youngster coming out of junior as there's ever been. He's got 13 goals this year for Minnesota. He's a big, strong wing. Likes to move the puck off the boards into the center. He could pass the puck through people as well as anybody on the club.
This NHL Soviet Series 83, protected by copyright and played under authority of the National Hockey League and the National Hockey League Players Association. Ready for the face-off now, Shepelev against Smith. And they wave Shepelev off. They'll bring in Shelimov instead, and he wins the draw. And it was not dropped fairly. They will have the face-off again. Remember, the 6-game NHL Soviet Series will conclude at the Philadelphia Spectrum on Thursday night. We'll be there for what should be an exciting wind-up. Teams even and wins at 2 apiece right now. Here is Kapustin behind his own goal, being bothered by Bellows to Pervukin. Pass comes out to the Minnesota zone, rolling down. Matson gets there first. He'll play it off the boards for Payne and back down inside the Soviet blue line. 3 penalties in the game. No goals so far. 2 to the North Stars, 1 to the Soviet Union. Bilyaletdinov drops the pass for Kapustin. Skates around Roberts, then Roberts gets a piece of him, ties him up in the corner. Soviet player can't find the puck. Payne coming in to help out. Soviets maintain possession in there. The slap shot and the deflection just goes wide. Bilyaletdinov ripped one from the right point. Here's the backhand now, and Matson hangs on there. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Let's face it, today's the day for 1983 Buick Skyhawk.
Now's the time, and tomorrow's looking fine.
All the elegance you'd expect from a Buick in a smaller front-wheel drive package. Sportiness that just has to be experienced. Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick Skyhawk?
I got this feeling that today's the day.
Now, low 12.9% financing.
The Soviets with a good shot, a deflection just wide from the point after the puck got freed loose in the corner. Payne being taken out, no one picking up his wing. Puck coming back to the blue line, a shot, the deflection just missed the net.
From the faceoff, Soviets get a chance again, but it is shot wide by number 18, Vazikov. Broughton in the corner can't find it. Now it is picked up but not cleared by Young to the blue line, bumping for it there. Well, that is number 11, Tom McCarthy, and he forces the puck out to center ice. North Stars coming in. Dino Cicerelli shoots, scores!
Well, that's the highest scoring line for Minnesota, and you see why right there. All three work very effectively. McCarthy, the heavy on the line, always takes the body. He frees the puck up for Broughton. Broughton with an exceptional move at the blue line. Has both defensemen frozen up near the line. Slides it through. Watch this. He'll come across. Pull a Soviet move right there. Frees both defensemen up at the blue line. Dino with the bullet. Cicerelli's shot catching the inside of Tretiak's pad and giving the North Stars a lead.
So they finally break the streak of Tretiak, 12-18 into this period. Broughton and McCarthy getting the assists on the goal by Dino Cicerelli, the North Stars' top goal scorer this year. 12-18's the time. Minnesota with the lead and the puck right now, which is shot to Starikov outside the Minnesota blue line. Zubkov starting a play. Bykov inside the blue line, shooting. Hudson short side, good save, stop that. Craig Hartsburg around the board, pushing it ahead, past Zubkov into center ice. Kozhevenikov in his first shift tonight on the ice for the Soviets. He's always dangerous. Lead pass for him rolls through to Priest, and Priest plays it off the boards on the far side for Mike Eaves. 6 minutes and 45 seconds to play. Minnesota on Cicerelli's goal with a 1-0 lead. Worth noting that the two games the NHL teams have won, they have scored the first goal.
That's right, Don. The Soviets played differently coming from behind.
Priest ahead for Eaves. Had to leave it there, couldn't find the puck in behind him. Smith or McCann forechecking in front of Fedosov. Timonev setting up Larionov. Look out! Great stop by Matson.
What a save by Marcus Matson, left all alone.
The save of the night. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in just a moment.
We've just found a way to stop winter cold. New Hot Shots. Amazing little hand warmers that keep your hands warmer than ever when you're out in the cold. Just open the plastic wrap and Hot Shots heat up in 2 minutes. Stay warm and toasty for 3 whole hours. New Hot Shots from Johnson's Wax. They stop winter cold.
6 minutes and 14 seconds left in period one. There is the score, 1-0 Minnesota. And you just saw the save of the night by Marcus Matson off Larionov, point blank alone in on him to hold this 1-0 North Star advantage. Mandich starts up slowly, feeding Young. Center ice. Young trying to cut in, forced off into the board. Still stays on top of the puck, battling for it. Comes to Fedosov. He goes down in the pile. Soviets with the dangerous Larionov again. Overskated by Timonev at the blue line. North Stars applying pressure. The backhand shot goes wide. Douglas gets it around to the far side. Giles digging it out. Krutov on his opposite wing. Over on the far boards, Larionov makes a good move. Can't get the shot away. Puck still loose in there. Myers will call a penalty for holding.
Myers going to call the North Stars for holding there as the Russians trying to get the puck right back into the middle area where they usually do. As we look at Kazatonov, a real big, strong defenseman, broke that puck out of the zone real well.
Tim Young gets the penalty for Minnesota for holding with 5:21 left in the period. Burton Cummings, Milton Berle, Phyllis Diller, just three of the super guests. But Alan Thicke's Fast Company returns on CTV Friday. Be sure to join us.
There's Tim Young pulling down the Soviet player right there. And this is something you don't like to see happen. One of your penalty killers taking a penalty because it makes you a little weaker on that unit.
Indeed. Sergei Shepelev on the draw against Eves. Eves shooting the puck over on the boards, held in by the Soviets. Vidyaletinov keeping it in. Hartsburg got a stick on it. Back in Soviet control. Vidyaletinov shot deflected high off the glass. Rebound came off the mesh. Soviet players swarming all around that net. But Matson has been very tough in this first period. Shepelev forced back by number 25, McAdam, the veteran. They bump in there. Giles comes in to help, pushing the Soviet player Kapustinov. Play goes right on. Puck comes loose. Back to Vidyaletinov. Keeping it alive for the Soviet Union. Shepelev knocked down in front of the goal. Another Minnesota penalty coming up, and down goes Matson. But the Soviet player was hammered down in front of the goal, and Myers has tagged the North Stars with their fourth penalty of the period.
And this is a time you don't want to take a penalty against the Russians, giving them a 5-on-3. Craig Hartsburg very upset in front of the net. He comes across and cross-checks the Soviets setting up in front of the net. That penalty called. It was a delayed penalty. The Soviets took the shot. When Minnesota finally played the puck, Hartsburg was whistled off.
For cross-checking, the Soviets, barring another event in the next minute and 19 seconds, will have a two-man advantage. 4:40 to play in the first period. Dino Cicerelli has given Minnesota a 1-0 lead from McCarthy and Groton at 12:18 to break the scoreless string of goaltender check.
You see Giles out there talking to referee Bob Myers, undoubtedly trying to get a rest for a fellow like Mike Eves, who had been killing part of the penalty himself. You've got 5 defensemen dressed. You've got to make sure the defensemen get a little rest. Here's Giles and Roberts. Giles and Hartsburg were just killing the penalty, so they're trying to get a little rest. Giles going back on now as we look at Coach Glenn Sonmore looking down, seeing who he's going to put out next.
Krutov against Eves. Eves wins it for Giles, being hounded there by Larionov. Roberts digs it out and shoots it down the ice. Fedosov, a Soviet captain. Gone past for Krutov inside the line. Beautiful stick check, a sweep check from behind by a falling Gordy Roberts. Soviets with a two-man advantage. Kazatonov, Fedosov, Kazatonov shooting. Blasted wide. The defenseman Fedosov down the boards. Now takes it back to the point and over to Kazatonov. Now Fedosov. Fedosov. Maxwell got turned around. They play catch out there. Kazatonov booming one, deflected up into the crowd. 5 rolls high. 28 seconds left in the first Minnesota penalty.
There's a tired Marcus Matson getting tested. Brad Maxwell going over to give him a rest. One thing you want to notice on the Soviets on this 5-on-3, Larionov out in the middle, always sets up behind the high fella of the North Stars so that he runs a little interference, allowing the Soviets to pass the puck across and the defenseman to shoot off the pass. They run just a little pick, allowing the Soviet point men to be free if they want to walk in or shoot. Tikhonov a little upset. He was trying to change lines there. Referee Bob Myers wouldn't let him. Tikhonov just checking how much time left in the penalties.
Mind you, the one he's got on isn't bad. It's their number 1 productive unit. Krutov takes the face-off, trying to get the puck across to Larionov. Can't do it, but Fedosov has it over to Kazatonov. They've switched spots now on this point. Here's Kazatonov. Being watched by Maxwell. Puts it off the goalpost. Rebound. They missed it just across the crease. Great scoring chance there for the Soviet Union. Timonev shot through a maze of players, hops off the board. Soviets keep the pressure on. Kazatonov. playing 5 against 3 in there. The shot caught by Matson, who's worked very hard, and the whistle sounded just as the first penalized player, Young, came back on the ice.
The way the Soviets were passing the puck back and forth up high, that's when the North Stars bring 2 people out up high, allowing 3 Soviets back near the net with 1 defenseman because they weren't using those men. That shot slipped through. The Soviet forward let it go, hit the pipe, and the other fellow right in the doorstep missed it. But the Soviets, instead of moving that puck down low, which they finally did and almost scored, kept it back and forth up high, and they really should have adjusted earlier on that play.
The North Stars not out of danger yet. Still 35 seconds to go in Hartsburg's penalty, but they ice it nicely there. Kazatonov, this unit, has been on for the entire power play. Young had good penalty killer, the first man to go to the box. Working for the North Stars now with 16 seconds remaining in Hartsburg's penalty. Soviets not very proficient on the power play, just 4 scoring chances in the entire series. Larionov now works it out to Kazatonov. Hitting the Minnesota blue line. Back on the ice comes Hartsburg. The Stars have killed off those double minors, and they get a round of applause here from the partisan crowd of the Met Center in Bloomington. Minnesota still with a 1-goal lead. 2 minutes and 25 seconds to play in the first period. Or Broughton off his leg into the Soviet corner. Trying to trap it in there for a face-off. Lost possession. Cicerelli can't contain it. Now Fedosov still on that long shift for he and Kazatonov. Those defensemen must be tiring now. Cicerelli shoots wide of Tretiak in goal. Puck off the boards all the way back to Mandich at center ice. Hartsburg shooting it back in. Fedosov across the ice, now up to Vasilyev with Bykov. Left it there at the Minnesota blue line, and it's shot into the crowd. 1:45 to play in the period.
Well, the North Stars had to withstand some pressure from the Soviets, especially in that power play, and this one fella right here, Dino Cicerelli, is the one that put the North Stars ahead 1-0. The year he was in junior, the year before he was drafted, Bobby Smith led all scores. Gretzky was second, Cicerelli third. Cicerelli was first with 72 goals, Gretzky second on the goal scoring.
Zubkov. Vasilyev in center ice. Blocked at the Minnesota blue line. Soviets being cut off at that line more frequently now by the Minnesota defenders. Maxwell to the corner, around for Roberts. Takes a funny bounce, and Smith comes up with it. Right wing relay. Bellows booms one. Tretiak blocks that. Big rebound comes out to Vasilyev of the Soviet Union. Now this is Bykov. Kozhevenikov. Vasilyev shot, and he drills it wide. 1 minute to play in the first period. Minnesota with a 1-goal lead. Steve Payne getting it back at the blue line with Bellows, drops it to him. Lets the pass go through. Smith couldn't get his stick on it. Starikov comes up with it for the Soviet Union ahead to Vasilyev. Bellows right back inside that blue line off Starikov's leg. 35 seconds to play in the first period now. Giles getting it out over the line. Eves moving in for it. Across to McAdam. In they go. Rolling loose puck after a fine save by Tretiak. Delayed penalty indicated now by referee Myers.
Well, the hooking penalty on the Soviets will give the North Stars a power play advantage. McAdam with an outstanding chance. Breaking in, fine shot. Big save by Tretiak. Here's a play. Actually, that's Ronnie Freese breaking in. A fine play for McAdam. McAdam switched over to the right side in that line. Freese breaking in with a good slap shot. Ronnie Freese, his first year in the National Hockey League, out of Windsor, Ontario, going in for a fine shot on Tretiak. As the Soviets right now going over to the bench, checking out who's going to be killing the penalties, taking a little time. And you see Eves breaking for the loose puck, but being held right there and brought down with 19 seconds to go in the period. The North Stars go into power play.
This is the second Soviet penalty of the game. The North Stars have certainly had more problems with penalties. They have been assessed 4 of them to this point. Shots on goal, the Soviets have outshot the North Stars 8-7 with 19 seconds to play. And don't forget the wind-up game Thursday night in the Philadelphia Spectrum, 7:30 Eastern Time. We'll have it for you right here.
Well, here's the shot, and as you see, Eves breaking in. He's actually pulled down by Varnikoff, number 10, and they got Babinoff killing off the penalty, or sitting out the penalty.
Myers has penalized the wrong man. No matter. Soviets short a man. Pletnow as the Stars have 12 seconds left here in the period. Roberts moves it. Oh, great chance right there to the side of the goal. And Broughton just failed to put it in. Soviets take the pressure off now. Down into the Minnesota zone as the siren ends the first period, with Minnesota still having a minute 41 of second period power play time left to them when play resumed. But they got the only goal from Dino Ciccarelli. It was set up by Broughton and McCarthy at 12:18 as the Soviets outshot the North Stars 8-7 in that opening period. Minnesota almost getting a 2-goal lead. Broughton trying to redirect it. Couldn't get enough of it to make it a 2-0 lead for Minnesota just at the end of that first period. So the NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in just a moment.
Budweiser salutes all the people who make the music we love.
Look out! Our best for you. There's no one else who does it quite the way you do.
Yeah, this Bud's for you if you like your beer with that distinctively clean, crisp, Beechwood aged taste and smoothness that says Budweiser.
For all you do, this Bud's for you.
Working outdoors on the land sure is good for you, and it's not bad for the appetite either. We've got free-range chickens here.
And fresh vegetables from the garden, served with butter. What else?
And butter for cooking, of course. For a good, healthy appetite, there's nothing like good, wholesome food. Butter. There's nothing like it.
My new JVC Compact VCR is the world's smallest, lightest VCR ever. It's ideal for taping graduation, school plays, Halloween. It's loaded with features. Perfect for Christmas morning, Groundhog Day, Little League, Big League.
JVC's new compact VHS video system with the world's smallest, lightest VCR ever.
Buzz off, Buster.
Great sound, too.
The shutout string of Soviet goaltender Vladislav Tretiak has come to an end here at the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota. After just over 164 minutes, an NHL team has finally scored on Tretiak. Ciccarelli got the goal from Broughton and McCarthy, and Neil Broughton is with us. And what a big lift to get a goal against someone like Tretiak, especially knowing the fact he's stymied teams like Montreal and Quebec, Neil.
Well, it definitely is. We knew he was playing well, and if we got a goal or two in the first period, we'd be happy, especially with killing off so many penalties as we did. So after that period, we're really happy to be ahead 1-0.
It's been a while since you've run into the Soviets, and people like Tretiak. I guess you go back to the 1980 Olympics.
Yeah, that was a time of my life, I would have to say right now, and it brings back a few memories when we were out there playing against in the first period, but most of it has vanished. But you like seeing guys like Fedosov and Tretiak, Krutov, and those guys. They're excellent players, and they're fun to play against.
Neil, there are 39 players from the 1980 Olympics that are playing in the National Hockey League, and 9 from that gold medal team, and you're one of them. Do you converse with any of the players and sort of reminisce a little about the Olympics?
No, not so much anymore. It's kind of it's been 2-3 years now, and it's history. You like to put it back in your mind, and hopefully when we're 40, 45, we can come back and talk about it. But mostly when I see them, we just go out and have a few drinks and see how their season's going, and they ask how yours is going. But we don't really reminisce about the Olympics too much.
Hey, Neil, what about the strategy in this game tonight? I know General Manager Lou Nanne had a talk with all the players this morning. Glenn Sonmore trying to psych you up. What overall was the message?
Well, Louis has watched them play every game, and we want to have one guy high in the offensive end. Make sure so they don't get any 3-on-2s or 2-on-1s. And if we shut them down there, always have one guy coming back so they don't get any of them. Hopefully, we won't give them as many scoring chances as they want, and that's what we're trying to do.
Had to be a big lift there, 1-0, and Marcus Matson, that great save on Lurianoff, that has to be a morale booster.
Oh, it definitely was. He was all alone, and Marcus made a fantastic glove save, and it just lifted the whole team up.
Hey, the North Stars, of course, the series tied at 2-2. It's rather a key game when you look at the series. You're representing the National Hockey League, and you want to get the NHL in the driver's seat heading into Philadelphia.
Well, we sure do. We want to play as well as we can. And we're working into St. Louis and Chicago both games, so we're not going to go out there and by any means and low. We're going to go out there and try to win, and hopefully that'll give us a boost for the next 3 games coming up.
Neil, what about your game personally? Things are obviously going extremely well for you. You have 45 points this season. You're finding the scoring opportunities. The North Stars are rolling well. You got to be very pleased.
Oh, I am. The last 20 games I've played most of them well, and it looked for a while there I wasn't going so good. 13 games, I had a couple points, and the puck wasn't going in the net. I wasn't getting any assists, but now all of a sudden I've got the little spark, and when I pass it to Tommy or Dino, they're putting it in, and I'm getting a few chances, so hopefully that can continue.
Neil, keep up the good work and hold on to that lead in this game here tonight.
Okay, we'll try.
Neil Broughton of the Minnesota North Stars, our guest, and it's 1-0 for Minnesota over the Soviets. Our NHL Soviet 83 series continues.
You are about to enter a whole new world. The world of First Choice Pay TV. First-run movies, the way they were produced, with all your favorite stars. Specials, premieres, blockbusters, variety, and exclusive sports.
Enjoying the movies, boys?
First Choice, Canada's only national round-the-clock pay TV. Look out for number 1. Look out for First Choice.
The Soviets boast some of the top hockey talent in all the world, and they also boast some of the top coaches, especially Viktor Tikhonov, who is the head coach of this year's Soviet team, and his record with the Soviets, 4 World Hockey Championships, including a Canada Cup. Mr. Tikhonov, welcome to our hockey telecast, and I'm interested in your comments on the series so far.
Я заинтересован в ваших комментариях по тому, как идет серия.
Во-первых, я очень доволен, что эта серия проходит в очень интересной, напряженной борьбе.
I'm very satisfied that this series is going in very interesting and very tentative competition.
Mr. Kukushkin is the task correspondent, the interpreter working with us on this interview tonight. Would you ask Mr. Tikhonov about the importance of the series? How important is it for the Soviets to win it?
Насколько важно для советской команды выиграть эту серию? И какая важность серии?
Ну, здесь мы придаем значение не столько серии, потому что участие сборной команды СССР всегда рассматривается как участие в победе.
At this series, we do not consider the result of these games. You know that when our national team participating in competition, people are interested in our victories.
Нет такого тренера, который, значит, заранее планирует проигрыш.
But speaking frankly, there are no such a coach who plans his losses.
А как это удастся, это покажет конечный результат.
And we have 2 more games to play, and we'll see the final result in the nearest future.
Soviets have a very young team, and I noticed there's only one right-handed shot on the entire team. Is there any significance to that?
В советской команде очень много молодых игроков, и я заметил, что только один бросает справа. Что это вообще, так сказать, чем это объяснить?
Ну, я думаю, что бросают с той удобной стороны, которая наиболее привычна.
Players, they used to make shots from the most convenient side for them, with which they are accustomed.
А с другой стороны, я считаю, что это является нашим недостатком.
And it seems to me that it's one of negative sides in our team.
Yesterday, Mr. Tikhonov had an opportunity to witness a National Football League game in a dome stadium here in Minnesota, the Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys. And we were at the game, we saw him right at the sidelines, obviously right with it and enjoying the play. His comments about seeing his first professional football game.
Не могли бы дать комментарий, вы видели впервые профессиональный футбол американский?
Да, вот так воочию первый раз мы его увидели.
Yes, it was the first time I have seen American football with my eyes.
Раньше приходилось смотреть только по телевидению.
Before I was watching this game only on TV.
И, безусловно, восприятие вот так наяву это значительно интереснее, потому что чувствуешь накал борьбы, видишь эту борьбу близко и сам ее ощущаешь.
And for sure, watching the game at the stadium, you have another feeling. You have the feeling that you participate in the game, and it's more pleasant to watch.
I'm interested, did Mr. Tikhonov look at that football game, for example, as a fan, or is he studying the play or the coaching?
Вы смотрели на этот матч как болельщик, или вы сразу смотрели с позиции тренера?
Я всегда смотрю с позиции тренера.
Everything I'm watching from the position of the coach.
Мне нравится эта игра.
I like this game.
Had great response from the fans, such as the case the other night in Calgary in that game. It obviously is a great boost when you hear that ovation.
Вы слышали эти овации, вы знаете, что большая помощь от болельщиков.
Здесь?
Да.
У какой команды?
Как и в Калгари, так и здесь.
Обычно мы стараемся не слышать.
Usually I teach my players not to listen the crowd.
This tournament has been very demanding. There's been a lot of traveling for the Soviet team, but not much opportunity to tour the various cities. But I think the players and Mr. Tikhonov have been able to relax a little watching some television. And I think Mr. Tikhonov was also watching Rocky III, his comments about that.
А теперь, конечно, эта поездка была очень тяжелая, но все-таки была возможность кое-что посмотреть. Вы видели фильм «Рокки 3». Ваш комментарий по этому фильму?
Этот фильм очень понравился.
I liked this film very much.
Главной вот такой чертой.
And the most important part of the idea, most significant idea of the film was,
что герой этого фильма, значит, главную свою проблему видел в том, чтобы спорт был чистым, чтобы чемпион был не просто.
The idea of the film was that the hero decided that sport must be clean and the champion must be.
Не просто чтобы он добивался вот такого большого результата за счет грубой силы.
Not the champion must get the result not by using just wild strength, but
за счет того, что значит его должен работать интеллект.
But with his intellect.
Как в подготовке,
in preparing,
так и в самом бое.
And at the fight.
И второе это то,
and
что.
The second part.
Это то, что даже такой очень великий боксер
is that even such a great boxer as Rocky
недооценил однажды свою подготовку,
underestimated his preparation for the competition, and he lost.
Okay, we'd like to thank you, and this interview is also being fed live back to the Soviet Union. Mr. Tikhonov's wife, I'm sure, is watching tonight, and his son. He has an opportunity to say hello to them out there.
А теперь у вас возможность сказать привет, помахать ручкой.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Tikhonov, the coach of the Soviet team, and we'll continue with this NHL Soviet Series 83.
Who was your good friend growing up? With you every day, every meal, next to the cookies, reached for after school, smasher down of hungry thirst, surprisingly smooth, delicious, cold, and absolutely irreplaceable.
It's a nightmare. I'm having an inventory nightmare. What must I do to sell all this furniture, all these appliances? I've got it. For a limited time only, I'll give away furniture at up to half price. I'll give away thousands and thousands of incredible on-the-spot cash rebates. It's Stewart's inventory nightmare. But for you, it's the furniture and appliance deal you've always dreamed about. So don't get caught sleeping. Come to Stewart's right now for up to half price on furniture. Plus, incredible cash rebates.
One had to be impressed with the overall play of the Minnesota North Stars in that opening period. They lead 1-0 on a goal by Dino Cicerelli and Tom Watt. They had numerous scoring opportunities, what with the penalties they received in that opening period. And you look at the Soviets, you have to be impressed when they have the puck, all 5 players get involved.
Well, that's right. They gang the net at one point in the hockey game. They had all 5. We get a look at it now where they have all 5 offensive players. This really is the little opportunity where 2 defenders go to the puck carrier, and Larionov goes in all by himself, makes a little move, and Matson comes up with a good glove save, puts the puck right into his glove, and it's outstanding goaltending like that. Really, Matson has played extremely well, along with the penalty killers for Minnesota tonight. I think those 2 features have been the highlights of the first period. Now here we have all 5 defenders. There's the forward bringing it in. He drops it to a defenseman. There's a second drop to a defenseman. Now we have all 3 forwards and 2 defensemen. Here you see the second defenseman, all inside the top of the circle controlling the puck, all around Matson. But when the Soviets get possession of the puck inside your zone, those defensemen aren't going to stay right on the point. Here we have the goal and a nice little play. Both defenders go to the puck carrier. That gives Cicerelli some room, and of course Dino Cicerelli has a great shot, and he just blows it by the goaltender. He gets a piece of it, but then it slides by between for the goal. And Dino Cicerelli, one of the things that makes him an outstanding goal scorer in the National League is he's got such a great shot, and he just fired that when he had a little bit of room.
And Tom Broughton had an excellent chance right at the end, and that's how it stands right now. Thank you for your analysis of the first 20 minutes of play. And this is the NHL Soviet Series 83.
The Energizer.
My radio. See what you find when you clean out your closet? I lost this about 2 years ago. Hey, still energized.
Comparing all leading battery brands after 2 years, nothing outlasts the Energizer from Eveready. Nothing outsnaps it. Nothing outadds, outwalks, outtapes, outshines, outlasts it. Nothing.
About 2 years and still energized.
The Energizer. Energize for life.
Long life.
Energize me.
I'm moving out of here. Hello, weekend. Cutting up for some good times. Really glad I'm here. Me and the boys and our 50.
Smooth, easy drinking 50. What a beer to share.
Me and the boys and our beer.
Chevrier with Lou Nanny. That's the story so far. 8 shots to 7 Soviets. The goal by Cicerelli. If you had a pool on when Tretiak would give one up. It was 164 minutes and 10 seconds of scoreless hockey. And to begin this period, Babinoff is in the penalty box with 1:37 seconds left in the Minnesota North Stars power play. Kazatanov shooting it down behind an outstanding Minnesota goaltender, Marcus Matson. Neil Broughton, who came very close to making it 2-0 in the waning seconds of period 1, drives it down now to the Soviet zone. Vyacheslav Fetisov, the Soviet captain, across to Kazatanov. McCarthy got there first, held in by the Stars. Back to Roberts now, left point. Roberts, weak shot. Picked up easily by the Soviets, and back they come on the right side. Krutov will swing around from left to right wing as they crisscross. Has an offside call to the Minnesota blue line.
And that was a good play by Gordy Roberts as Willie Plutt was the first man coming back, but he was even caught deep. It was a 3-on-2. Roberts making a play at the blue line. One thing about Tikhonov, when he was watching the football game last night, he assessed the game very quickly. He says it's all big men up front with little rabbits in behind, and the big men have to clear the way for the little men to run.
I'll tell you what, the big men and the rabbits were hitting last night, and he was edging closer and closer to the sidelines. He almost put on Tom Landry's hat and took over the Cowboys. Really got involved in a super football game last night here in the Dome. 51 seconds left in Babinov's penalty. Soviets, though, with the play in the Minnesota zone, shoot it up in among the spectators.
You're right, Don. He went right over to the bench of Dallas. Ron Hill was sitting there, and he looked at him and he said, "You must be very fast because you're not nearly as big as the other people." And Ron Hill says, "Who are you?" And he's a Soviet hockey coach. And Hill said, "Welcome to America."
Larionov on the draw for the Soviets. Krutov into the corner, taken down by Brian Bellows. No penalty call. Got his stick jammed in there as the Stars bring it out now. 33 seconds on the power play remaining. Bobby Smith swings inside the line past Kazatonov, but again it is shot promptly back out. Marcus Matson way out of his goal. Still inside as the Stars do not have a good power play going now. Soviets drive it down the ice. 11 seconds remaining in the Soviet penalty. Chance for the Soviets, one-on-one. Shalimov could not get a shot. Hartsburg guarding him. Soviet players back on. The team's at full strength now. Payne brought it out. Fed Smith at the blue line. Smith rolling it around in behind the goal. Then Bellows makes a check. Hard drive by Payne. Might have caught the Soviet goalpost and bounced in behind. Vidyaletdinov. Payne falling in the corner. Soviets coming up with it now. On the right side, Shalimov leads it to the blue line for Shepelev. Shalimov overskated the pass back. Now Payne, rink wide. That's broken up by Sergei Kapustin. Oh, and almost a chance there. And the long pass for Shalimov. They'll call it back over two lines. This NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Hello? Somebody out there? E.T.? Video game?
It's coming soon, only from Atari. The video game that lets your family help E.T. get home. But only if you have an Atari video game system at home.
Remember, a win here tonight by the North Stars would assure the National Hockey League teams of at least a tie in this six-game series as they head for home, the Spectrum in Philadelphia, and the concluding game on Thursday night. But we've got a long way to go here this evening at the Met Center. Stars, Priest in the corner, losing it there. Soviets very adept at getting it out smartly from their own zone tonight and do once again off Matson's stick into the corner. Tried that Minnesota goal as they bump for it. Giles now getting some help, falling on the play. Soviets trying to work it up the boards. It is held in there briefly. Then the Stars have it out at center ice. McAdam couldn't control it. They played 3 minutes here in this third period. Teams even in shots on goal, 8-8 right now. Chance for the Soviets, swinging in. Pass in front was blocked. Vasiliev digs it back. Shot by Zlutkov. That is stopped. Here is Starikov deflected off the post. Penalty being called here. It'll go against Minnesota. Delayed call. Cross-checking, so the Stars will face the Soviet power play once again. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
When you're feeling up and your friends are near, friends are near. Get a love-ass light, love-ass light. All you want in a beer, all you want in a beer. Now ain't that nice, so nice. Love-ass light on ice, love-ass light on ice. Tastes light and smooth, so smooth, and goes down so nice, and goes down so nice. Get a love-ass light.
You'll see Kozhenikov in front of the net right there, and now you're going to see Maxwell come across and give him a cross-check. He goes down, penalty to Maxwell for cross-checking. Soviets on the power play again.
That is the 5th Minnesota penalty of this game. And they've gotten away with them so far, but it can't go on forever, you feel. Matson leaving it for Hartsburg. Snaps it off the boards. Not held in. It popped out into the white zone over the blue line. The face-off will come there.
Well, Fedosov down on his knees, trying to hide it and keep it in. But referee or linesman Bob Luther right on the line as we look at Kurt Giles checking the clock. Saw it was offside. One statistic for the North Stars when they're on the power play, Don, a glaring one, a bad one. They lead the league in giving up power play goals against, 11. So the Soviets could be very dangerous there if Minnesota's on the power play.
Soviets with 4 power play goals now in 25 opportunities in this series. That's not a high batting average. Three and a half minutes into the second period. 1-0 for the Minnesota North Stars. Krutov. Fedosov. Stars break it up there with number 21 Ferguson with it, trying to kill this Minnesota penalty. Larionov inside the blue line, being forced over by Young across to Kazatonov. His shot blocked by the defense in front. Mandic had it bounce off him off the board. Soviets keeping it in. Wide angle shot. Good catch by Matson. Good quick reflexes with the glove hand of Marcus Matson.
That was a good catch because that one was labeled for the upper corner. A fine shot. The Soviets using the pick out front. Allowed that defenseman to move in, and he took a real good shot. There's Krutov, number 9. What a dangerous man this fella is. He's always one of their leading scorers. Very quick, very deceptive.
Top scorer so far, 5 points in the 4 games and change to this point. And there's Matson very quickly picking that out of thin air. A minute 12 remaining in the Minnesota penalty. Soviet power play goes to work very patiently, very deliberately, but a mistake made there by the captain Fedosov. And it's shot by Eves back to the Soviet blue line. Fedosov dropping it back. Krutov swings in with it. Right in front. Couldn't get the shot away. Waited a bit too long to get a perfect opportunity, and it's cleared by the North Stars. Here's a chance for Eves. Eves taken down. Rolling puck. Rebound. McCannon's shot. Blocked in front. And Kazatonov comes up with it. Almost 2-0 with Minnesota shorthanded. Kazatonov taken down. Minnesota clearing it with 25 seconds left in Maxwell's penalty. But a close call as the Soviets got careless in their own zone. Long lead pass for Kapustin. He is bumped on the boards, and Young backhands it down the ice. 10 seconds remaining in the penalty. Over on the right board. Shalimov left it there for Kapustin. The penalty is over. 5 times tonight, Minnesota has escaped without getting burned with the Soviet power play. Tim Young chasing it down to the corner. Lost his balance against Lydia Letanov. Pervukin around for Kapustin. He can't clear it out of there. Right in front. Oh, Young couldn't get enough on it. Just shot wide. And tipped back to center ice. The Stars with a couple of great scoring chances the last minute or so. Shalimov leaves it at center ice. Now takes it across the blue line for Shepelev. Shepelev gets turned around by Hartsburg and ridden off the play. Tim Young coming up with it. Young is everywhere in this shift. For Shepelev, Shalimov, and there in time was number 11, Tom McCarthy. Stars getting tired. They'll head for the bench and change on the go, as some of the Soviets do now. Icing is called against Minnesota.
You'll see the replay right here as they're trying to kill the penalty off, and then the shot in front. Tim Young was just coming by, almost deflected it right after the power play was over. Tim Young just missing that open side.
The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
This is the M1, England's busiest motorway. The M1 has the highest accident rate in all of Britain. But here's an amazing fact. There's an automobile tire used on the M1 that provides such extra safety, a car insurance company actually offers lower premiums to people who use them. What kind of tires? Goodyear. We want you to have the best radial tires in the world.
Welcome back to the Met Center. Don Chevrier and Lou Nanny with you. 1-0 North Stars. Cicerelli's goal, 12-18 the first period, the only scoring so far. 5 penalties have been killed off by Minnesota. McCarthy now at center ice, one-on-one. Bumped hard as he tried to get around a Soviet defender and went flying. Now Varnikov has trouble clearing. Starz keeping it in. Around the left side, it is tipped ahead by Skvortsov. Skvortsov inside the line, couldn't get his stick on it. Now Vozakov shoots it, and the Soviets have tied it up. From the left face-off circle past Marcus Mattsson, who's played his heart out tonight. They finally beat him.
Well, a little deflection right in front of the net. The shot from way out, but the deflection was what beat Mattsson. He just allowed that puck to go through his legs. He's playing the shot. You'll see Marcus standing up right here, and then the deflection in front. And Marcus goes down to get it, goes right through his legs. The Soviets tie it up 1-1. Right in front of the net, the Soviets setting up. I think it was Schwarzkopf setting up, getting a piece of it, and deflecting it by.
Goal coming at the 4:35 mark. Ties it up. Soviets won and Minnesota won. Soviets bring it right back to the blue line again. Bobby Smith now trying to find someone to feed in center ice. Gets it ahead for his defenseman Hartsburg. Leaves it there for Payne. Payne shot. Gloved by Tretiak. Couldn't hang on to it. Back it comes all the way to center ice. Skvortsov did get the goal for the Soviet Union to tie this game. Payne ahead for Smith. Babinov and Zlutkov got the assist at 6:35 on that Soviet tying goal. Play whistle down on the mesh beside Mattsson, and they will have a face-off in the Minnesota zone.
The North Stars have to watch right at their blue line. They're allowing the Russians now to get inside their blue line a little bit and use a little jump pass, which has proved effective. Right here, you'll see the tip-in. Schwarzkopf coming across. He just gets his stick on off Marcus's left leg in the net. Even though Schwarzkopf's being harassed by Gordy Roberts, they seem to get that stick down, get a piece of that puck, and change the direction.
For the Minnesota North Stars, a break to the center area, shot down the left corner. Here is Priest for McAdam. Fetisov takes over. Gets it up for Timonev, and it hops it among the spectators. 12:18 to play in this period. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Plumbing repairs, taxes, Jody's braces. Oh, boy.
You can always take a break.
You got enough. Come on.
You can always have a choice.
I can always beat the game.
You can always get a smile. Let me take out or eat in. You can always come our way.
Nice idea.
For the break you need these days at McDonald's. Your break is always waiting.
Come and get it.
This NHL Soviet Series 83 is a special presentation of CTV Sports in association with TV Labatt. The program is copyright and strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or exhibition of this telecast without the express written permission of the CTV Television Network and TV Labatt is strictly prohibited. A 1-1 tie here at the Met Center. Game 5 of the NHL Soviet Series. Soviets circling now in their own zone, trying to form a play up. Stars do some forechecking, force them back. Kazatonov having a tough time in behind his own goal. Now Fetisov is bumped hard in there by Priest. And the Soviets finally start a play up the left side. Broken up by Hartsburg, or Giles. Giles could not advance the puck. It is whistled down to the linesman right there at the Minnesota blue line for a face-off. 11:42 left. There's Gordy Roberts, defenseman in his 5th season in the National Hockey League.
And he was named Team USA's best player last year in Helsinki, Finland, in the World Tournaments. This season, he's probably been the most consistent Minnesota North Star defenseman, having by far his finest professional season. Last year, he was named Minnesota's most improved player. This year, he's playing even better.
11 minutes and 40 seconds of second period playing time remain, and look out, a chance for the Soviets right here on Mattsson. He made the save. The Soviet player, Shepelev, Stole the puck right there. And almost made it 2-1. Penalty being called against Kapustin. He took down Hartsburg from behind, and the Minnesota North Stars will get their power play to go to work in just a moment. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Totino's. What did he say? Hey, if we're talking pizza, we're talking Totino's.
What's so special about Totino's?
The crust, for one thing. Totino's makes them crispy on the outside, light and fresh on the inside.
That's the way I like it.
And wait till you sink your wheels into that delicious, thick, rich topping.
Totino's!
Totino's frozen pizza.
If you've never tried Totino's, you don't know how good frozen pizza can be.
Sergei Kapustin caught for hooking Hartsburg at the 8:39 mark. And so the faceoff coming outside the zone. Here it is. Down he went. Caught him from behind. Minnesota will have the power play on the ice.
This line would like to work the puck down close with Groton and Cicerelli around the net, Plett screening in front.
Penalties all going Minnesota's way in the first period. They settled down tremendously in that regard now. I'm sure Glenn Sonmore had a lot to say about taking unnecessary penalties in between periods when he talked to them.
I'm sure
Roberts
he did.
chops it out to center ice for Broughton. Broughton on the relay by Plett, former Calgary Flame. Drives it in behind. Stars pressing now to get the play going in the Soviet zone. Broughton right out in front for Plett. Couldn't get the shot away. Now Roberts controls the bouncing puck momentarily and lost out at center. Roberts across to Plett. Trying to feed Broughton with it. Will drag it down the boards now. Shepelev clears for the Soviets. A minute 15 remaining in the Kapustin penalty. Roberts swings away from Shalimov and Smith to center ice. With Plett and Payne. In they go. Soviet defender falling in the corner. Bringing it around in behind the goal. Waiting to make that play back to the point they do to Roberts, getting pressure now. Soviet player Shalimov watching very carefully, getting as close as he can. They dig it across to the far side. The slap shot, loose puck in front, bouncing around. Tretiak, it goes in. It's 2-1 Minnesota. Wait a minute, no goal. They waved that the play had been whistled down. The red light went on, but the linesman and the referee Myers say it is no goal.
Well, Tretiak made the save. He couldn't find the puck. Let's see if he can handle it. Here's a shot from the point. A good hard shot from McCarthy. Tretiak making a save. The puck is lost in Tretiak somewhere. You saw it drop there and Plett knocking it in. But the whistle had sounded. Bob Myers blowing the whistle when he lost sight of the puck, which is the correct thing to do. And so there's no goal. The game is still tied 1-1. You see McCarthy shot. You see Plett screening in front. That's what he does so well. Tretiak losing the puck. It drops, falls in the net, but the whistle had sounded.
Still a 1-all hockey game. Close call there for the Soviets. 42 seconds left in their penalty to Kapustin. Stars backing up to form up the power play, and away they come now at the blue line. But that is broken up by Timyanev. Soviets forechecking well. Young drops it to a Soviet defender. 20 seconds left down the penalty. Svortsov skating into the corner. Hartsburg checking him. Hartsburg coming up with the puck as Svortsov lost his stick. 10 seconds to go on the power play. Payne. Young. And broken up by Babinov, but failed to clear. Now it's over the blue line. A Soviet player, Kapustin, back on the ice. The teams are at full strength. 9 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the second period. Still a 1-1 tie. Chance for the Soviets. Down goes the Soviet player. There'll be a penalty against Minnesota. So the Soviet power play will come on the ice. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Hi, I'm Oscar Peterson. Coffee mate goes great. Coffee mate was made just for coffee, so let Coffee Mate make your cup of coffee taste great.
Minnesota's sixth penalty of the night. Hartsburg for holding at 10:54. Took the Soviet player down, going right in, put a fine tackle on him.
Well, Zukov breaking in all alone. Hartsburg definitely pulling him down. The Soviets on the power play again.
Roberts on the faceoff, being watched by Timonev. Gets it up the left boards. Eves digs it ahead to the Soviet zone. Fedosov quickly back on top of the play. Taken down. Here's a chance for Eves. Shot it wide. Shorthand of the Stars are with Hartsburg in the penalty box, his second penalty of the night. Timonev, the top Soviet line, is on the ice now. Larionov with it. Krutov right in front of the goal. Back it comes to Kazatanov. Booms the slap shot wide. Roberts goes in behind for it. Lost his stick. Soviet player taken down in front, and it's shot down the ice finally by the Minnesota North Stars. Al McAdam. 1:10 left in Minnesota's penalty. Larionov drops it back. Timonev, Kazatanov, Fedosov, Kazatanov. Fakes the shot, makes the pass, the backhand drive just wide from Larionov. Soviets pressing to take the lead. It's tied 1-1. Timonev gets it again, top of the circle, passing it back. Kazatanov fakes the slap shot, drops to Fedosov. Almost checked out over the blue line there. Krutov had his drive blocked. Roberts battling for it in the corner. Digs it out, but still inside that blue line. 27 seconds of the penalty remaining. The long shot again goes wide. Many Soviet attempts off the mark on this power play. Teams even in shots at 13-13. Here's Krutov cruising in front. Krutov waiting, scores! Krutov took his time and made it pay off. The Soviets have taken a lead of 2-1.
Well, Krutov with plenty of time coming out of the corner where Roberts was taken down by a Soviet offensive man right in the corner. You'll see Krutov walking out all alone, walking to the front. He's got everybody going down in front, holds it long enough. Eves in the net trying to block it, but he puts it up and over everyone. Here he is, a fine play going over to his forehand, and this is why it's good when you're playing your off wing. You come across your forehand, you look at him putting it up and over. Well, that's Gordy Roberts back in the net, who bounced back, tried to save it, but a little too late.
So the Soviets have the lead for the first time tonight at 2-1. Krutov's goal at the 12:40 mark of the second period. Broughton for the North Stars, ahead at center ice. For Cicerelli, he's bumped hard, taken down to the blue line. Dykov, long lead pass coming out to the Minnesota blue line. Vasiliev couldn't make a play. Now McCarthy with it, with Cicerelli and Broughton inside the line. McCarthy falls, puck slides free. Giles shot it wide, rebound past Broughton. Now trying to hold it in is Mandich. And the Soviets get it back to center ice. Timonev and Fedosov got the assists on Krutov's goal at 12:40. Soviets right back in. Falling on the play, the Soviet player actually was taken down by the defender right in front of the goal. That's Kozhevenikov. Hard body check thrown by the Soviet Zubkov. He leveled Broughton there at the blue line. Kozhevenikov inside the line. Kozhevenikov waits to make his play. Stick handles right in, and he's taken down. No penalty on the play. Defending was Mandich. McCarthy takes it inside the line for Cicerelli, and down to the corner for McCarthy. Trying to pass in front for Bobby Smith. Can't get it to him. 6 minutes to play in period number 2. Soviets leading 2-1. Vladimir Zubkov. They work the left side of the center ice area. Right across the blue line. Shalimov failed to hold it there. Shot down the ice by Minnesota. Vidyaletdinov comes back to pick it off, but did not go far enough to be called for icing. Soviets with the only 2 goals of this period. Body check by Hartsburg in the corner. Digs it free for a moment for Brian Bellows. Now Roberts runs into Shalimov in behind. Payne rolls it up the boards, kept in by Vidyaletdinov and blocked by Matson. Up and among the spectators. 5:12 to play in the period.
All the Soviets getting the North Stars running around a bit there. They were putting pressure on the North Stars, getting everybody caught a little too deep. As you see Glenn getting a little upset with the referee, I believe, right there. But here's Cicerelli taking the check. Did he ever get hit? Broughton got hit with a harder one by Zubkov coming across the middle. Both forwards taking some good checks. Some hard body checking going out there right now. And the game getting a little rough as we have a pane of glass that was just dislodged in the corner. Here's another save. We'll see Matson standing up, standing his ground. A good move by the Soviet, but he's pulling right down by Giles. Matson making a leg save. McCarthy back to hold out, and he'll get the puck up and out of danger. You know, one thing the Soviets are doing now when they're on a power play, they're playing a man all the way up to the North Star blue line, trying to release the pressure the North Stars are putting on down in the Soviet zone, holding the defenseman back, giving them a little more room to operate so they can get up ice quicker.
Look at the Soviets, who have outshot the NHL opposition in each of the games so far, have outshot Minnesota 15-13 at this stage. 5 minutes to play in the second period. They lead 2-1. Eves battled that puck down. It is kept in, but shot up into the crowd by Ron Priest.
Well, that's a testament to two things. One, that they are controlling the puck a great deal. Secondly, they do shoot a lot more than they used to. Even in the past, when they controlled the puck a lot, they never took as many shots as they take now. Now they shoot from a lot farther out and from worse angles than they had before.
Shot 35 against Edmonton, 37 against Quebec and Montreal, and 29 against Calgary. And many more have gone wide. They don't count. Here is Priest holding it in at the blue line, driving it down for Eves. Eves is taken down. There'll be a Soviet penalty. Great chance. Priest scores! It's 2-2.
What a play by Plett and Friest. Friest went in the corner. Friest made the play initially at his blue line. He faked the shot, got it in the corner to Eves, who gets pulled down behind the net right here, but he deflects the puck back. Plett alertly comes behind, centers it quickly to Friest, moving in from the point, and he beats Tretiak to tie this game up. Ron Friest, one of the more physical players on the North Stars, noted more for his body checking and scoring, but a complete hockey player. He's come a long way in 4 years, really worked hard at his game. Fine youngster.
So Ron Friest gets the second Minnesota goal to tie this game. Back into the Soviet zone again. It is icing called against the Minnesota North Stars.
Well, one thing we haven't seen too many of done were icings tonight. An icing at this stage you don't like to take. You've just scored a goal. Don't give the Soviets a chance to win a draw, get a good shot on net. You don't want to allow the Soviets any opportunity to score right after you've scored. You'll see Plett centering that puck to Friest. Friest yelling, moving in from the point, and beating Tretiak, tying this game up.
Plett and Eves get the assist on Friest's goal at 15:24. Soviets pressing now, however. Here's Fetisov having the puck taken away from him. Douglas for the North Stars, down the left board. Leaving it for Ferguson. Ferguson shooting, that is blocked. Minnesota gaining momentum now with that equalizing goal late in this period. 4 minutes to play in the second period. It's 2-2. Ferguson gets it across the eyes. Mandich up the board. Not out. Timonev blasts a shot. He scores. The Soviets regain the lead.
Well, that's what happened when you don't get the puck out and you've got a lot of opportunities. Soviets very alertly picking that puck up as it was trying to get thrown out of the zone. Timonev moving to the center, getting a real fine slap shot right up past Matson in the upper corner.
One more look at it. Boom, gone. 3-2 Soviets. Goal coming at 16:07 of the second period, scored by Timonev. So quickly the Soviets are back on top, and out they come to center ice. Bykov, stick checked at the blue line, lost possession there. Gordy Roberts over to Maxwell with Broughton inside the Soviet line. They go 3.5 minutes in the penalty or the period remaining. Kazatonov got the assist from Timonev at 16:07. Here's Cicerelli. It was blocked for the Soviet defender. And out down the right side comes Kozhevenikov. Kozhevenikov swings in front and shot wide. Vasilyev can't keep it in. Long pass for Broughton. Broughton digs it back into the slot. The shot, just wide by Tom McCarthy. Back and forth they go. You get the feeling this could be a very high-scoring game. Vasiliev makes the play right in front. And Kozhevenikov got taken down. They score from a bad angle with the open net. It is 4-2 for the Soviets.
Well, the Soviets come down. They had a 2-on-1 play. They didn't score initially. Madsen got caught out of the net. Roberts trying to get up alertly to get the puck, but he was down flat. You'll see the passing play right here. Madsen coming across, making the save. Now he's knocked out of the net. Roberts trying to get to it, doesn't get to it. No one in the net. The Soviets take a 4-2 lead.
Starikov shot from an extremely bad angle and nonetheless popped it in. Kozhevenikov with a big opportunity there, and then way over almost on the line, he found the range. It is now 4-2 for the Soviets. 2 minutes and 35 seconds to play in the second period. Bilyaletdinov gets it in behind his own goal. Pervukin getting it ahead to Shalimov. Kapustin rolls it down the right board. Hartsburg. Kozhevenikov and Vasiliev got assists on that fourth Soviet goal at 17-11. So they have struck twice quickly here to regain the lead. Shepelev's shot is blocked to the corner. Shalimov can't get a stick on it. Now Bobby Smith with Payne gives the puck to Payne. Hits the Soviet blue line, drops it in there. Long relay for Smith. They can't get it to him. Soviets trying to widen their lead further with Shepelev and Shalimov. Hartsburg being checked by Shalimov. Payne being watched by Shalimov, who seems to be everywhere. Now Hartsburg brings it inside the Soviet blue line. Hartsburg is set off to the right side for Payne out in front. Could not get a shot away. Back come the Soviets. 2-on-2. Drop pass. Here's the shot. That's from the stick of Zlutkov and wide. A minute 15 to go in the period now. They send in McAdam quickly. Dropping it back for Roberts. Oh, just wide. Maxwell fakes the shot. Gets around Barnikov, and the relay just going wide by Ron Priest. Stars pressing for a third goal now. Down by 2. 1 minute to play in the second period. Roberts fails to hold it in. Soviets break 2-on-1. Barnikov coming in. Passing back in the slot. The shot as he was falling by number 26. Sportsov just rolled wide. Yuri Vozakov. Ahead for Barnikov. With Timonev. Shooting it into the Minnesota zone. Mike Eaves behind his own goal for the North Stars. Leaves it there for Roberts. Roberts having trouble getting it out. Finally it hops off free stick into the center ice area. 20 seconds to play in the second period. Left there for Krutov. Krutov scores. He sailed right in. It's 5-2 for the Soviet Union.
Well, Krutov moving in over the blue line. Two people having a crack at him. He finally was able to slip that puck through. It looks right here like he's lost that puck momentarily. He's got it on his backhand, and as he's being checked, he just gets a backhand in the net. 9 seconds to go to put the Soviets up 5-2.
Krutov's second goal, though, and he just sailed right through the two defense players. Giles and Roberts split them and popped it in behind Matson. He has 4 goals in the series now. He's the leading Soviet scorer in this NHL-Soviet confrontation. Just 2 seconds left now. In behind the Soviet goal, and that will be all. The Soviets have broken out after Minnesota took that lead of 1-0. It's been mostly the Soviet Union ever since then, as they have scored all their goals, 5 of them here in the second period, and lead the Minnesota North Stars by a score of 5-2. Another example of how quickly the Soviet Union national team can strike and make you look bad, as they pulled away from the Montreal Canadiens to break up a 1-0 game on New Year's Eve, getting 4 in the final period, winning that one 5-0. Second period over then. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in just a moment.
Budweiser salutes all the people who help us go in the snow.
I'm best for you. There's no one else who does it quite the way you do. For all you do, our best to you.
Yeah, this Bud's for you if you like your beer with that distinctively clean, crisp, Beechwood aged taste and smoothness that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you. The all-new front-wheel drive Mazda 626. An automobile designed to exceed your expectations with unprecedented luxury, comfort, and masterful use of interior space. A new level of style and performance in 3 no-compromise personalities. A sophisticated sports sedan, an inspiring sport coupe, and an outstanding 5-door luxury touring sedan. The all-new Mazda 626. The more you look, the more you like.
When you think of all the wonderful things your dog gives you, give him something wonderful back. Give him Total Diet, the only food that shows you how much nutrition he's getting to stay healthy for life. Yellow bones for vitamins, white for minerals, plus soft red bones for protein with real meat. For all the things he gives you, give him Total Diet, total nutrition you can see.
Cicerelli and Priest have scored the goals for the Minnesota North Stars here at the Met Center, but an explosive second period for the Soviet team, and they scored 5 goals in that second period, and they lead the Minnesota North Stars by a score of 5-2. With us now, the North Star goaltender Marcus Mattsson, who has been playing this year in Birmingham of the Central League. They call you up, and what a game to get a start back with the North Stars, Marcus.
Yeah, I tell you, the pace is a little bit faster than in the Central League.
Now, you've played the Soviets several times as a member of the Finnish national team. Very familiar with a lot of those players out there. They're just awesome, aren't they?
Yeah, yes, they don't shoot for bad shots at all. They just wait and fake a shot, and then they like to put it in the empty net. That's how they play the game.
You know, reflecting back to that first period, you were just sparkling in goal there for Minnesota, and made some exceptional stops. That one early, that glove save off Larionov, did you see it all the way?
That's the breakaway save?
Yeah.
Yes, I sort of gave him a little club side, and he put it there, and I was lucky to make the save there.
What about the Soviets now? As we mentioned, you've seen them and played against them numerous times. Have they changed anything in their style?
Well, it seems that they're shooting from the point a little bit more than before, and they just go for deflections in front of the net. I think their first goal game like that, the defenseman didn't even try to score. He just put it in the guy's stick and he deflected in.
Marcus, what happens too with the Soviets when they get the puck? All 5 players get involved, so it's not a matter, I guess, of a goaltender watching the wingers. You've got to watch all 5 players.
Yes, they move very good as a unit. They move up and down, and as I said, they always looking for that open net before they try to shoot.
Used to be the history of the Soviets that they wouldn't take that many shots. They'd look for that perfect play all the time. They'd move the puck around with a lot of authority, always looking for the great shot. Are they still comparable?
Yes, that's exactly what they're doing out there tonight. They're looking for our mistakes in our end. They just move the puck until they got the good chance and put it in.
A lot of speed too. Krutov had a couple of goals in that period. He just dazzles for that Soviet team.
They just keep coming. I don't know.
What in preparations now yourself? You've been playing in the Central Hockey League with Birmingham. You get the start here against the Soviets. How did that develop? When did they tell you that you were going to play?
Well, a couple of days ago I got a call to come up, and I practiced with the team yesterday and started tonight.
Does this mean you're going to be staying with the North Stars for a while now?
Well, they haven't said anything yet, but I hope things work out good for me.
What about the Central League now? Obviously seeing a lot of action there, but you say the speed is just a little slower. It takes some adapting to come back to the NHL.
Oh yeah, there's a big difference in shooting. The guys here, everybody shoots the puck good. Central League, it's a little bit slower pace, and they've moved the puck a little slowly. And the shots are not that hard.
What about the goaltender at the other end, Tretiak? He looks in brilliant form. He's been like that for years now, eh?
Yes, I remember watching him when I was a little kid, and he just keeps getting better and better. I can't believe that guy.
Well, there's no denying the fact, Marcus, that the Soviets are a strong team. They exploded for 5 goals, and the North Stars definitely aren't out of it, and keep up the good work, and you've played extremely well in this game.
Okay, thanks.
And our guest, Marcus Mattsson, the goaltender for the Minnesota North Stars, after 40 minutes of play. It's 5-2 for the Soviets. and our series continues in a moment.
When you use a courier service overnight to the States, you may think your shipment's in reliable hands. Well, that may not always be true. They can use forwarders, commercial airlines, and methods that are ingenious, but sometimes not too reliable. Now there's Federal Express. They're so reliable, they guarantee overnight delivery, or you don't pay. Now isn't that ingenious?
Only a few of the things we eat today have been around for a long time. Basic traditional foods, like bread, like butter. And if you wanted to, you could still make them the same way, even using the same ingredients. You can't say that for everything you get on the market these days. Butter has always had wholesome goodness and great taste. Butter, there's nothing like it.
Welcome back to the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota, and with us now the general manager of the Minnesota North Stars, Lou Nanne, who's been working with us all throughout the series as color commentator, but we want to now talk to you in your capacity as general manager of the Minnesota North Stars. Lou, I know it has to be a little disappointing after having a first period lead and seeing the Soviets come back the way they did tonight.
Well, we know how explosive they are, Bernie, and we tied up 2-2. There's about 4:27 to go when there's a face-off in our zone. And it's a needless play that results in the goal. We should have had the puck out of the zone. There was no reason for it. And the moment we gave them the opportunity, we talked a great deal about making sure we get the puck out of the zone. That's the key. They intercepted one. Timmy Neff steps in the hole, blasts it. That puts them up 3, and then 3-2. And then 2 quick goals. One after Marcus had made a fine save, but he got knocked out of the net. And the second one, just a fine play by Krutov. It looked to me like our defense got a little tired the last 3 minutes. A great deal of pressure from Russia. You know they're going to come relentlessly at you, and we didn't adjust. We didn't help out back there, and consequently, before you know it, it's 5-2.
Lou, what about the series now? It's a 6-game confrontation against NHL opposition. You as the general manager of the North Stars, was there any hesitation at all in accepting a game?
No, not at all. We think that there's certain things to be gained by this one. It's a good test for you to see how fast you could adjust to different styles, different checkings, and how fast you can adjust your style to the kind of offense that they have. Secondly, we think it could be something that tells us a great deal about some of the capabilities of the people we have. And third, it's a kind of competition that we think will make our team better. You know, if you're a hockey player, if you're a youngster and you want to get better, the key thing is always to watch somebody better than you, and every time you get the opportunity. This allows you the fact and the opportunity to pick up some things they do, you get better at it. The same thing with a hockey player. When you play better people, you find some of the things they do well, consequently should improve your game.
Lou, we have to mention Victor Zluptov out there, who has been drafted by you and the Minnesota North Stars. He's quite an asset to anyone's hockey team. I know you've been kidding us throughout this series that, well, in fact, Zluptov, too, you've been trying to usher him into that Minnesota dressing room. Realistically, when do you feel that the National Hockey League will have an arrangement with the Soviets to come over here?
Well, President John Ziegler has already made some moves to try and get us our players looked off, and our Rangers Kapustin. We are working at it. They are working at it. High official channels. That's the way it's going to have to be. Something like a cultural exchange. Hopefully, the Russians will see fit to do it soon. I really, when I look at this hockey club, know what they've got. I don't expect them to have looked off on the '84 Olympic team. Now, the key is whether they're worried about the first player coming over here playing up to the kind of capability and standards that they've demonstrated, and how he's going to fare. I think that realistically, Tretiak might be the first guy to come out because they think he's going to be better.
Well, we hope the North Stars can turn it around in this upcoming period, Lou, and we're going to let you get back into the commentary position. And our thanks to Lou Nanne, the general manager of the Minnesota North Stars, for guesting with us. And it's 5-2 for the Soviets, leading the Minnesota North Stars. And in other hockey, the Canadian Olympic team is in action. No games today, but there's a game coming up in St. John's, Newfoundland. Also Sydney, Nova Scotia, Charlottetown, and Moncton. And we hope you support the game in your area. The World Junior Hockey Championships. Canada today won their game from Norway 13-0. So Canada wins a bronze medal. The Soviet Union, undefeated after 7, are the gold medalists with quite a job. Dave King and the Canadian juniors finish with a bronze medal. in Leningrad. Our Soviet NHL series continues in a moment.
Ziller's spectacular white sale is made up of more colors than you can imagine, all priced lower than you ever imagined. Perk up your bathroom with Cambridge Canadian-made towel sets, just $8.97 for a set of 3. For the bedroom, Heritage 2 sheet ensembles in print designs are just the right accent. The twin size is $15, and save 30% on Zeller's collection of bedspreads. So get to Zeller's now and get all the colors you've been missing at savings you can't afford to miss. Zeller's, only you'll know how little you paid.
The Soviets displaying their explosive power in that second period, scoring 5 goals, and they lead the North Stars by a score of 5-2. And back with us, Tom Watt, with his analysis. And we mentioned they're very good at scoring goals. They're also good at forechecking, penalty killing, you name it, Tom.
Well, they like to score in bunches, too. When they get you on the run, they keep you going. But I thought it was a real tight, close hockey game when it was 2-2. Boy, I thought it was anybody's game, especially, too, when the score was 1-1. That dispute there about the goal. Here's an example of Soviet forechecking. The Minnesota defender tries to put it around the boards, and the guy coming down to keep it in is the defenseman who pinches. They pinch their defenseman all the time so they keep control of the puck inside the zone, and eventually you see them controlling the puck. That all happened because the defenseman came down to pinch to keep it in, moves it back to the point. The point shot comes and hits the post, a deflection on the post. But that all came just because that defenseman pinched down at the line. Here's the shot coming, and there's the tip in that hits the post. But all that came. The puck was kept in only because at the beginning, when Minnesota had possession of the puck and they tried to put it around the boards, the defenseman pinched down to keep the puck in.
Okay, and I'll look at another highlight here.
Well, certainly one of the things that typifies Soviet play, and this is the good job that Eves has done as a penalty killer. He moves right around. They're shorthanded this time. You see, it's almost, Trechak almost loses the puck, and then McAdam comes in as the second man. Now, if that puck goes in, we might have had a different hockey game, but one of the key points, I think, in the game so far has been the good job, really, that the penalty killers from Minnesota have done. I think they've done a super job.
And also in that highlight, too, Tretiak very active with that pad and made the great save, and we pick up another play.
Well, this is Skvortsov's goal to tip in, but you see the defense here again. We talked about that at the end of the first period. The defense have already moved inside the line. If they don't move up that quickly, the puck isn't in. The point comes from the shot comes from the point, the tip in by Skvortsov. And one of the things that typifies Soviet play is the defense really move up in the play and get involved in the attack, and that's what they did there.
It's unfortunate for a goalie, too, that deflection right in front off Skvortsov.
Well, certainly, there's no question about that. Now, this is the power play goal. Really, they move the puck around. You see Smith controlling the puck at the side. It's moved back to the point. They're just playing catch with it, really, from side to side here. Puck goes back to the point once they've got everybody on one side. Here we see it coming through. Just gets moved wide of the net. And this is the dispute. This is the dispute because the tip in, the puck really did get by. The goaltender was laying on the line. Bob Myers lost sight of the puck and he blew the whistle, and of course, but the puck did slide in the net, and that was tough for the North Stars. Well, here's the power play goal by Krutov, and what a hockey player this guy is. There's the defenseman again moving right down the corner. Krutov walks out of the corner, fakes once, fakes twice, fakes 3 times. Now he's got 3 players and the goaltender all out of the net, and of course he puts the puck in. It was just a super goal by Krutov. Well, he's got one guy I'd like to put in my bag and take home. Maybe we could use him with the Jets, I'll tell you that. Here's the good forechecking job, really, that gives Friest the opportunity. Eves was pulled down behind the net. Plett went in there, got it loose, fired it back to Friest, and Friest put the North Stars back in the game. But then, of course, the Soviets, they like to score in bunches, and Tamayev, just watch this shot when he rolls here and whistles it. I mean, Marcus Matson has a good glove hand, but he has no chance of an opportunity like that. That puck just went right by him.
Thanks very much, Tom Watt. Expert analysis of the 40 minutes of play. Cicerelli and Friest have scored the goals for Minnesota, but the Soviets on 2 goals by Krutov lead 5-2. This is the NHL Soviet Series 83.
Tough Chevy trucks are taking charge with a dynamic new lineup of new-sized trucks. The Chevy S10 Pickup, S10 Maxi Cab, and S10 Blazer. Taking charge with revolutionary Instatrack four-wheel drive. Shift from freewheeling two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive high and back at any speed. Try that with Datsun or Toyota. Chevy S10, there's never been a lineup of trucks like it before.
Now your Chevy dealers taking charge with low 12.9% financing on new 82 and 83 light trucks.
People who look for reliability in VCR look for Hitachi. Look at the difference in Hitachi's warranty. A full 24 months on parts at no extra cost. Double the competition. And inside, the heart of Hitachi's Luminar Video is precision engineered of extra durable space-age materials. Better engineered, best warranty. That's the Hitachi Touch. See and touch the full line of Hitachi Luminar Video equipment with all the most wanted features. Some people have it, some people don't.
Soviets getting all 5 of their goals in the second period, pulling away to a 5-2 lead over the Minnesota North Stars, who have made a change in goal now for this third period. 5'8", Don Beaupre, who said a couple of months ago when asked about his size, he said, "Look, I'm here to stop the puck, not beat up. I'll just stop it and no physical abuse on the puck, thank you. I'm just big enough to play this game." He is now like Lemelin was in the third period, coming in cold, Lou.
That's right. Actually, the battle plan going into the game was if there was more than a 2-goal difference in the Soviet favor to replace Matson with Beaupre, because oftentimes a team, when you change goaltenders, it gives your team a lift and also gives Beaupre some work. Had the game stayed at 2-2, 3-2, Glenn would have stayed with Matson. Tretiak getting a little consultation from Fedosov and Larionov.
He has given up 2 goals, and the only 2 on this tour, and the first 2, of course, since the '81 Canada Cup final. The Soviets have outshot the North Stars 20-15. Glenn Sonmore has worked with his team between periods. They know they've got an uphill battle against the Soviets, and a gargantuan task it is. When the big red machine gets rolling, they're mighty hard to stop, as both the Montreal Canadiens and Quebec Nordiques found out last week. Third period action is underway. North Stars Broughton gets a chance inside the line. Fedosov rides him off smartly. Still there, though, for McCarthy into the corner. Ciccarelli is dumped. There will be a Soviet penalty as Ciccarelli was taken down and is slow getting up.
Well, Ciccarelli moving to the corner. The moment he saw McCarthy with the puck, he moved towards the corner. Kazatonov just took him down. He got a tripping penalty as he was moving towards the puck. Actually, Kazatonov might not even have seen him. It could have been accidental, but he definitely took him down. The penalty's called. And Dino went in a little hard at that time.
Penalty at the 12-second mark of this final period for tripping to Kazatonov. So the North Stars get their power play into action again. Want to remind you, the Labatt's Player of the Game Awards will go to the outstanding players in each team, as chosen by our telecast team. They will each receive a Panasonic Wave Mini Stereo cassette player. McCarthy, cross on the left side. Roberts drills it in front. Putt couldn't get a shot away. The Soviet player clears it out to center ice. Roberts. Lou Nanny, I thought, made a good point late in that second period when he felt his defensemen were getting tired, and it certainly was indicated by the late burst of scoring by the Soviets. Fedosov clears it down the ice.
Dino not expecting that pass. You've always got to be ready. Could have been home free, and the pass from Roberts there.
Shot down for Platt in the corner. Big bounce. He could not give the shot away. It was covered very well in there. McCarthy on the board. Plays it in behind again for Broughton. Broughton waits to make his play, does to McCarthy. He shoots. Blocked by the defense player Fedosov. Broughton again trying to dig it out into the slot. Ciccarelli is taken down. No penalty called there. Fans calling for one. It's shot down the ice for the Soviet Union. Soviets changing on the go as the Stars Hartsburg brings it in. Still has it inside the line. Tried to flip it across for Payne. Couldn't get it to him. Soviets clear to center. 36 seconds left now in the Soviet penalty. Bobby Smith. Payne's out in front. Digs it back for Maxwell. His shot. Rebound. Bellows couldn't get the rebound. Good body check by Bellows. Held in by Hartsburg, and the long shot steered aside by Tretjak. Pervukin clearing with 13 seconds left of the Soviet penalty. Soviets with 3 late second period unanswered goals for a 5-2 lead. Penalty almost over. Smith in the corner is bumped there off the puck. Play carries on in behind. Right out in front. Bellows could not get the shot. The defenseman going down. Hartsburg keeping it in. Plays it behind the net for Smith. Pops it out in front of there. Loose bouncing puck picked up for the Soviets. Kazatonov against Hartsburg. They both go down. Here's Shalimov now. Kazatonov couldn't get the relay. Deflected nicely. Shalimov again. Takes it around behind. Comes back the other way. Drops it out in front. Loose puck for the Soviets in there. Kazatonov had it roll off his stick. Now Zubkov. Long drive. That goes wide of Beaupre. Starikov. He scored a goal tonight for the Soviets. Keeps it in. Has it now on the point. Winds up with a slap shot, blocked by Beaupre and gulped down the ice by Payne. Stars take the pressure off. They'll be called for icing, and the NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
If you run a small business, profits can get squeezed when inventory doesn't match up with production. What you need is a tool for modern times, the IBM personal computer. Not only can it help you plan ahead, it'll balance your books and give you more time to make dough. And the cost? That's the icing on the cake. Your own IBM personal computer. Call toll-free for a store near you.
Beaupre with some early saves. In period number 3 in relief of Marcus Mattsson. Icing indication of the Soviets get there first. They do. It'll be called against the North Star.
And McAdam floating out a little high. If Eves had made that pass to him, McAdam could have been all alone. A good try by Mike Eves. Fine play by Freese coming out of the zone. One thing the Stars have done early this period, and especially the last 5 minutes of that second period, they've had a little problem getting the puck out of the zone. The wings getting the puck along the boards or the defenseman. They've got to make sure it gets out of that zone. Soviets capitalizing a couple times on it.
Bykov on the draw. Stars smartly bring it out. McAdam feeds it across. Freese now is bumped hard in the corner. Zubkov battling with him. They dig it out of there, but Kozhevenikov steers it past Giles out to center ice, and Giles returns it back to the Soviet zone. Vasilyev. Over to Zubkov. Inside the line they go. Vasilyev cruising in front. The shot blocked by Beaupre, and he hangs on. Little pushing and shoving at the end of that exchange.
Well, Kozhevenikov going in on the net, and whistle had blown. North Star's getting a little upset, but he's just back from an injury. A fine hockey player, Kozhevenikov, who got hurt, missed the last game, but he's back. He's a youngster that's going to be with this team for quite some time, I think.
I want to remind you, Canada Cup Volleyball, the U.S. and Canadian national teams, plus World Pro Skiing. A couple events on CTV's Wide World of Sports this Saturday.
Well, you see Bykov getting a fine check by Kurt Giles, one of the better body checkers in the league. And here you'll see Donnie Beaupre stopping, making the save, and freezing that puck while he's down to make sure he doesn't give up any rebounds.
Bykov cruising right there, banging away at his pads in search of the rebound. 4 minutes played in this third period. The Soviets, as they have to repair the ice, and a spot inside the blue line, have a 5-2 lead over the Minnesota North Stars. Unless the Stars reverse this, it'll fall on the shoulders of the Philadelphia Flyers to pull the National Hockey League even. The final game on Thursday at the Philadelphia Spectrum. We'll have it for you right here. 7:30 Eastern time for that game. Barnikov shooting it into the Minnesota zone. Beaupre steered it around the other side. Maxwell playing it ahead. In over the line for Young. Young got tied up by Varnikoff, couldn't get the shot away. Sfortsov streaking down the right boards, being watched by Roberts. Down he goes. Roberts will get the call. A penalty against Minnesota. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
I've got an unfair advantage over these guys. My looks? Are you kidding? I've got the Gillette Atra. They don't. It's got the advantage of a pivoting head. Atra's better than twin blade razors that don't pivot. See, they don't always stay on my beard, but my Atra pivots to keep both blades on my beard longer. I get a better shave. See? Close. Comfortable.
Get the Gillette Atra and get the Atra advantage.
So who said life was fair?
Schwarzkopf breaking down the right side was hauled down by Gordy Roberts right here. He'll get a hooking penalty. And Gordy really shouldn't have taken the penalty at this time because Jordy Douglas had back-checked and actually Schwarzkopf wouldn't have had to play with the puck. But he got him off balance, got Gordy moving off balance, Gordy getting that stick up around the shoulders, pulling him down, the Russians on the power play.
At 4:34 of this, the third period. Cleared out by Minnesota. Puck sliding down for Fetisov, the Soviet captain. Working there against Mike Eaves, over to Kazatana. Now Krutov, one of the top candidates for the Labatt Player of the Game Award for the Soviet Union. He's got a couple tonight in this 5-2 Soviet lead, brings it in across the line. All the way back. Soft, back into the slot in front, both play down, loose puck. Krutov couldn't get the rebound, but Kazatanov keeps it in for Fetisov. Fetisov booms one, rebound, that shot wide of the corner. Fetisov down in behind the net now, plays it off the back of the goal. Now Mandich throwing punches at Fetisov in the corner. The Soviet player is not retaliated by punching, is simply hanging on to him as the linesmen move in to separate them.
Mandich getting frustrated. There's no need for that at all. You know the Soviets aren't going to fight and you're killing the penalty. He took the man out behind. They were both going to go off for penalties before that. You should have just let it lay at that time. You're taking off a good player in Fetisov as it is, so there was no need to start throwing punches at that.
Well, this is what the Quebec Nordiques did down in the Coliseum. You can't afford this kind of stuff. Cross-checks him right there. Soviet player gives him a stick, pushes him again, and away they go.
Well, Mandich getting hit with the stick should realize the other fella had a penalty. You're killing the penalty at that time. The best thing that would happen was the Soviets would have been short a man. As it is now, they're both going to go to the box. Mandich is going to be in there for some time. There's only 5 defensemen dressed. You know you've already got a defenseman in the box. Mandich losing his head. He should really have maintained his composure.
Well, the Soviets on the national team level certainly do not like to retaliate in fights in terms of throwing punches. Fetisov took his shots in there.
Well, you see a good chance by Fetisov. Speaking of Fetisov, a fine shot right there. He takes a pass across Beaupre, sprawling to make the save. And Larionov was right at the doorstep. Here's Fetisov taking the shot from right up the alley where he likes to shoot. Donnie making the leg save. And at the same time, Timyanev going right in for it.
Shot it wide. Fetisov talking with the interpreter, Aggie Kuklowitz now, having the penalty explained to him and the situation. He is off for the Soviet Union with 2 minor penalties, as is number 32, Dan Mandich, for the North Stars. 4 minutes and penalties assessed to him.
For slashing and also for rubbing. And an assist of the Soviet All-Stars, number 2, Yossi Slav Fetisov. And the North Stars, number 32, Dan Mandich. They have the penalties of 5-19. Fetisov of the Soviet All-Stars and Fetisov of the North Stars, minors for slashing and rubbing at 5-19.
Both players getting minors for slashing in Russian. Fetisov asking an interpreter what happened in that situation.
The interpreter said you got 4 minutes.
You know, I'll tell you, what's really tough is what you want to say as a commentator and what you want to say as a general manager at a time like this.
You're in a tough spot tonight, Louis.
Well, I'm not very happy with the manage in that situation. The main thing we try to tell them at noon hour as a team is maintain your composure. That's the first time we've lost it, but you shouldn't lose it at all.
Now when you're fighting to come back and trying to stay out of the penalty box to do so. Krutov. Giles around to Hartsburg. Past the 5-minute mark here in this third and final period. Soviets on top by 3 goals. Eves chasing it down into the corner. Takes a bump in there, then lost his footing. Krutov again everywhere on the ice for the Soviets. They're playing 4 against 3, exclusive of goaltenders now in this penalty situation. Roberts the first off for Minnesota. Kazatonov inside the blue line. Gets it back on the point. Larionov stationed there with him. Larionov quickly back to Kazatonov. Larionov booms one. Beaupre save, and Eves comes up with it. .28 seconds left in Roberts' penalty. They'll be even when he gets back out there. Timonev inside the line, drops it there. Larionov comes over to scoop it up on the boards. Quickly over to Kazatonov into the corner for Krutov. Takes a check from Maxwell. Soviets carry on. Kazatonov fakes it. Gets it back again. Taking all the time in the world. Larionov set up. Drops it. Slap shot. Rebound. Krutov couldn't get his stick on it. A booming shot from the point came right out in front again. Roberts out of the penalty box. Hartsburg with it now at the Minnesota blue line. The crowd cheering as the referee Bob Myers fell. Hartsburg brings it in. Can't split the defense. Goes off to the Soviet corner for Barnikov. Takes an elbow from Roberts in there. Larionov to center. Skating slowly now back to his own zone as they change. He'll leave the ice. He hands the puck off to Vazikov. Now Sfortsov having difficulty against Giles. Forced down to the Soviet zone. 12 minutes, 45 seconds to play. Soviets ahead 5-2. Babinov for Sfortsov. Babinov in the corner. Big check on Babinov as he was sent flying by Giles. Now here's Ferguson to Young. Young getting away from Vozakov. Shoots from the angle, picked up by Tretiak. Roberts lets one go from the point. That shot all the way back to center ice for the Soviet Union. Young passed it back. Only a Soviet player was there. And Barnikov passes it over the line. Sfortsov against 3 defenders. Gives it up to Roberts. Eves on the left side. Eves a fine move. Right in, he shoots. Oh, Tretiak sprawled. Made the save. Eves couldn't lift the puck high enough.
Eves had a sensational game so far tonight.
Indeed. Play is whistled down in the center ice area. Some bristling action here nearing the midway mark of the third period at the Met Center in Bloomington.
Well, the crowd's still very much into the game at this time.
This NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Oscar Papa Toronto Tower, runway 3 I'm moving out of here. Gonna spend some time away. I'm really glad we're here. Me and the boys and our 50.
Smooth, easy drinking 50. What a beer to share.
Me and the boys and our beer.
Soviets got caught with too many men on the ice, and Kapustin's been nominated by Tikhonov to serve that sentence. So now it swings the other way with the Minnesota North Stars having an advantage.
Well, the North Stars need a goal to get right back in this game, and right now is a good opportunity. 4-on-3 gives you a little more ice to work with.
Vasily Pervukin just lobs it down the ice surface. McCarthy will pick it up in behind Beaupre. McCarthy getting some room now to wheel at center ice with Cicerelli. McCarthy taken down on the check by Vilyaletdinov. Back to McCarthy. Waiting, lets it go. A high shot and a glove save by Tretiak.
Well, McCarthy was waiting for Cicerelli to get to the net. Tretiak seen Cicerelli coming, moved out in front of Cicerelli. Cicerelli had to go behind him, and he was able to glove that save. You see Tommy, he'll fake a shot right here. He's going to pump right there. You see him look. Now he waits. Dino moves towards the net. Dino's going to move in behind as you see him come through his screen behind Tretiak. It's a good thing that the goal wasn't scored while he's in the crease, or they wouldn't have counted it.
They've had one bad break already on a whistle that cost them a goal earlier. Shot out by Victor Zlutkov. Tom McCarthy. Right wing pass for Neil Broughton. Broughton skating inside the blue line. Drop back for Roberts on the point. Bless one just wide. Zlutkov having trouble clearing. Stars pick it up again. McCarthy on the point. Blocked by the Soviet player, Pervukin. Player of each team comes out as they score. The Stars make it 5-3.
Well, a good shot. The North Stars having a couple of opportunities. Gordy Roberts made a big play fighting Zlutkov off the puck. Just before we see Tom McCarthy right here getting set for a shot. That first shot was blocked. It came back, passed across to McCarthy. He gets a second shot and puts it away. A real good low drive by McCarthy, beating Tretiak on the goal stick side, and that's the side you want to beat him on.
So the penalty box is empty now. One man from each side came out, and on that goal, they let the Soviet man out as well. It's 5-3. One more look at the shot by McCarthy. Waited, lined it up, drilled it past Tretiak.
Using the defenseman for a screen, a pass across from Gordy Roberts, but Roberts initially fighting Zlutkov off that puck, making sure the North Stars were able to keep it in the zone.
So Minnesota alive with 10:37 to play, down 5-3. Cicerelli, an assist on the goal by McCarthy. Here's Payne now. Stars right back in. A redirected shot by Bobby Smith, and Tretiak had to be quick on that.
A fine play by Steve Payne, noticing Bobby Smith breaking for the net, and another fine play by Smith because he did not play this puck at all except to redirect it, and that's what you got to do. He's being checked, redirected it, and a fine save by Vladimir Tretiak. Another goal by the North Stars right there, back-to-back. Could have got this team going wild, and gets this crowd, a very exuberant crowd here, a loud crowd, gets the North Stars going.
Came very close to a fourth goal. The third was McCarthy, Roberts, and Cicerelli at 9:20. 10:20 remaining now. Stars with new life. Giles forcing it down. Across it comes out in front from Smith. They couldn't connect on it. And the Soviets break out 2-on-1. Larionov with Krutov. Over to Krutov, and a good saving deflection off the stick of the defenseman Giles. Giles bumped down by Larionov. Krutov carries on, pops it out in front. Less than 10 minutes left now. Bellows brings it in. Fedosov skated him off. Held in by the North Stars. Shot down by Payne behind the goal. Fedosov. Rink wide, nobody there. Smith. Giving the puck to Hartsburg. He's checked. Maxwell carries on and drives it down to the Soviet zone. Krutov having trouble against Plett. Big Plett in there with Fedosov, his elbows fly high. Plett still chasing it back in the Soviet corner. Goes around the other way now. Here's Fedosov coming up with it. He shoots it back to center. Here is Eves, dropping it back. The shot was blocked by the defense player from Plett. Plett getting physical out there on offense for the North Stars now as the Soviets have it back at center ice. Shepelev with Timonev inside the line, and Roberts scoops it away. Up to Eves. Eves getting tired, shoots it in and heads for the bench. Roberts trying to contain it there on the far boards against Timonev. Stars hold it in, 8.5 minutes to go. They're 2 goals down, 5-3. Pervukin hit by Plett. All around the backboards of the Soviet Union. Now Yar. He is jammed in there by Shepelev. Dug free by Plett. Roberts. Vidyaletdinov all over him. Back finally on the point for Plett. Shoots! Tretiak Got a piece of it, bounced out in front. Krutov coming up with it. Held into the Stars. Here's the shot way up into the crowd by Dan Mandich. Great concentrated pressure and aggressive play in the Soviet zone by the Minnesota North Stars. They come up empty. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
11 3/4% financing on new 1982 cars. Read all about it. Participating Ford and Mercury dealers are offering 11 3/4% right now. That's a great low factory-sponsored car financing rate. Now you can get 11 3/4% on the full amount to be financed for up to 4 years. Besides the hundreds of dollars in savings, you'll get great end-of-the-year deals on new 1982 cars. 11 3/4% financing. Get a great low rate at your Ford and Mercury dealer.
This crowd gave the North Stars a standing ovation a moment ago for their concentrated pressure in the Soviet zone. And one thing, Lou Nanny, your team hasn't quit tonight, being down 3 goals.
Well, they certainly haven't, and of course they got a great deal of explosiveness up front. They get one goal, they can score goals rather rapidly. What they're doing right now very effectively is shutting off the boards from the Soviets, not allowing them to come out that easily.
I can't recall when I've seen the Soviets have that much trouble clearing from their own zone. They were hemmed right in by the North Stars for an extended period of time. Vasilyev on the faceoff. Puck is left there. Young feeding it in front, and Douglas couldn't get a shot away. They battle there, 2 Stars, 2 Soviets, and they hold it for a faceoff with 7:42 remaining.
Well, the Soviets seem a little tired now. You haven't seen them freeze the puck along the boards as much as they have the last few minutes, and this is something, a telling effect on how you're forechecking. Babinov right there bending over, a little tired. He's, as we said in earlier telecast, the elder statements of this hockey club, and a very physical guy. Next game, as you can see, Soviet Nationals against Philadelphia 2 days from now.
Thursday night, and a quick shot glove by Tretiak, who's bumped, and the Soviet players come in to protect their goaltender as sticks go high.
Well, the Soviets try to move Priest out from in front of the net. He was trying to, or Douglas, and he was trying to really screen Tretiak. We'll have a little replay in that shot from the blue line. You'll see the shot, and Douglas moving to the front, Tretiak gloving it, and then the hassle started as Douglas moved in.
The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Over $600 in extras at no extra cost. 1983 Dodge Omni and Plymouth Horizon, fully equipped with powerful halogen headlights, reclining bucket seats, power brakes, quartz clock, and 16 more extras. They're fuel efficient and backed for 5 years or 80,000 kilometers. Omni and Horizon with over $600 in extras at no extra cost.
Yes, to Chrysler.
This excited crowd, 15,000 here at the Met Center, urging the North Stars on to their comeback, which they have launched here. They're within 2 goals now, down 5-3, 7:38 remaining in the game. Young against Kozhevenikov. The Soviet player wins it ahead to Vasilyev. Shoots wide of Beaupre. Here come the North Stars. Mandich. Young loops it in front of the goal, and number 14, Douglas, couldn't get there in time. It's chopped up in among the spectators. A stoppage in play with 7:15 remaining.
Well, you see a happy spectator getting a puck. Tim Young breaking down the right side. He saw Douglas breaking for the net, and he just tried to lay it in front so Douglas could deflect it into the net, but Tretiak makes a save. Young going to the outside, waiting for Douglas to cut. Douglas with good speed, getting almost there, but just without able to reach that puck, and deflected by Tretiak as we look at Murray Oliver and Glenn Sonmore behind the net, getting their next line ready.
Well, dealing with icebergs and oil exploration in the North Atlantic. That'll be on W5, looking at that story on the first edition of 1983, coming up on Sunday night. That's the story here. 7:15 remaining, a 2-goal difference in favor of the Soviet Union.
Well, Tom McCarthy having a fine night out there. He's out there with Neil Broughton and Dino Ciccarelli. And this is one of the lines that really has got a great deal of explosiveness in the league.
Ciccarelli is the top scorer on the Minnesota North Stars. Has a goal tonight, the game's first. Shoots it down to the Soviet zone again. Gloved quickly in return by the Soviet defense player Kazatanov. 7 minutes to go in the game. Broughton, smart hockey player. Could not advance it beyond the blue line. Kapustin being checked by Maxwell. They puff it out in front. Dino Cicerelli coming away with it. Soviets doing some close checking now, trying to head them off in the center ice area, are successful. Shepelev with Kapustin and Shalimov. Drop pass to Shalimov. Kazatanov. His shot is blocked by the Minnesota defenseman Maxwell. 6 minutes and 20 seconds remaining now. Sonmore makes a lineup change, sending the Smith line out. Smith watching Fedosov. Pass away to Krutov. Soviet top line on the ice. Shot up in among the spectators. We have 6 minutes and 4 seconds to play. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
It's Donkey Kong, the arcade sensation, and now you can play it at home.
Hang on, sweetheart. I'm gonna save you.
Now you can play Donkey Kong on your ColecoVision, Atari VCS, or Intellivision video game system. Donkey Kong has multiple screens, just like the arcade game.
You're not gonna stop me, you stupid ape.
Play Donkey Kong on your ColecoVision, Atari VCS, or Intellivision video game system.
Don't worry, darling. I'll save you. Help me.
Welcome back. This is our little home away from home. It is Lou Nanny's home here in the Met Center in Bloomington. And down the road, we've got our Soviet broadcast counterparts sending this game back to Moscow. And I think they're enjoying it back there a little more than we are here are the results so far. 5-3, Soviets lead. 5:50 remaining in the game. Bobby Smith having trouble against Larionov. Soviets with that quick burst 5-second period goals, 3 very late, have made the difference here. They were down 1-0. Starz came back to tie it at 2, but here's a chance right now. Bellows in front. The shot hit the mesh on the short side of the goal. Hartsburg shooting it back in, but it came out over the blue line with 5:23 to go.
Well, there's Brian Bellows tying up the man effectively in the corner. Payne and Hartsburg both working the puck free in the side. Just a moment too slow, because had they looked, we would have had a man moving right in the slot area. Here's Bobby Smith taking a man out in the corner. There's Payne and Hartsburg both moving in. Hartsy looking for the pass from Payne. Payne electing to shoot, hitting the short side of the net.
Eves wins the faceoff, back to Maxwell. Hutt with a check on Babinov. Held in by Minnesota, but shot right back out again by the Soviet Union. McAdam knocked off the puck by Vozakov. Bykov coming in now. Vasilyev can't get the pass. Hutt poked it away from him. Pass shot by Kozhevenikov is wide. Vozakov down the boards. Gordy Roberts with it now. 4 minutes and 47 seconds to go. It's tipped up in among the spectators. A face-off will come in the center ice area.
Well, North Stars very intently now looking at the time, checking how much time they've got left to get back in this game. Brian Bellows right there moving down the bench, making room for the line coming off. Glenn probably would be changing his lines quickly. Keep somebody fresh, keep somebody held in a position that they can get out there and go very quickly on the puck to make sure that they got an opportunity to score.
North Stars with sustained pressure a couple of minutes ago, having trouble coming back to that with 4:35 to play. Hit with a high stick, again a face-off in center ice as the pace slows all the further.
Well, the one thing you don't want to do right now when you're behind, if you got some pressure going, you don't like to see too many whistles. You want to make sure you're on them quickly and tiring them out, getting yourself the opportunity.
Kapustin chasing Hartsburg in behind the goal. Hartsburg had to give the puck up under pressure. Vidyaletdinov lets a shot go, and it drifts wide of Beaupre's net. Kept in by Pervukin. Now Friese with 4 minutes and 9 seconds to play. Leaving it there for Hartsburg. Shalimov watching him as Hartsburg starts up to center. Weak shot. Did not cross the blue line by very much. The Soviets have a 2-on-1. Kapustin relays it back, and the shot by Shalimov just went wide. For Minnesota, Priest. He has one of the 2 goals tonight. 3 now the North Stars have. Shalimov takes it at center ice. McCarthy got a piece of him. Maxwell left it there. They couldn't bring it in because of the offside. And now they shoot it in. 3 minutes and 20 seconds to play. Soviets on top 5-3. Bilyaletinov trying to find Krutov. He has 2 Soviet goals so far. Stars shooting it in. Tretiak indicates icing. Waved off by the officials. Here comes Krutov. They are 3-on-2 now. Left wing pass for Kazatarnov. Digs it out for Krutov. Couldn't get a shot off. For Cicerelli, too far at center ice. 2 minutes and 42 seconds to go. Sustained action, but no real pressure in the Soviet zone on the part of the North Stars right now. Larionov has a chance and he scores! That should put out the lights. Larionov with 2:31 remaining makes it 6-3 for the Soviet Union.
Larionov capitalizing on a mistake right there by Gordy Roberts, trying to get the puck up the middle, something you don't want to do against these fellas. Steps in, gets a good wrist shot, beating Beaupre in the far side, the goal stick side, making it 6-3. And as you said, it's going to be pretty tough to come back with 3 goals from these fellas at 2:31. Larionov, a fine shot just inside the pipe, putting the Soviets up by 3.
So after 17 minutes and 29 seconds, they score their first goal on Beaupre. Matson, who played exceedingly well in the first 2 periods, gave up 5 goals. Nonetheless, it is 6-3 now for the Soviets, who just keep the pressure coming. Mandich left it there. Worked out by Hartsburg. Pass intercepted. Kozhevenikov has Vasiliev and couldn't get the puck to him. Hartsburg rolls it inside the line. Still there. Chance for Payne. That was deflected wide. Less than 2 minutes to play now. Babinov coming away inside the line for Bykov. They just got a piece of him at the last moment there. The check by Bellows. Otherwise, he would have blasted one. Bellows off his stick inside the Soviet zone, but Babinov is there first. Smith for Payne. Nobody on the point. It rolls back to center ice. Less than a minute and a half to play. Bykov streaks down the right side. Dropping it back. The quick shot blocked by Beaupre. Steve Payne gets away from Kozhevenikov. Tries to feed Platt. Delayed offside is called as the Soviets. Kapustin has it. We come down to the final minute of play here in the 3rd period. 6-3, the Soviets lead Minnesota. Shalimov. Kapustin. One chance for the North Stars to put some pressure on now. The closing second to make it close. Platt bumping hard to the corner against Pervukin. So the Soviet Union is going to take a 3-2 series lead of the Spectrum in Philadelphia for Game 6 on Thursday night. Two on one, 20 seconds to go. Kapustin had it hop over his stick. Right in front again. Bilyaletinov could not get a drive away. 10 seconds to play. Hartsburg in behind. He'll shoot it back down the ice. Right on Tretiak as the Soviet Union has defeated the Minnesota North Stars 6-3. The big damage done by a 5-goal second period outburst for the Soviets. After the Stars had scored the first goal, as Calgary and Edmonton had done before them, this time, though, the Soviets came back to win it.
Well, the Soviets with a great deal of scoring power. When you make a mistake on them in the slot area, they put them away. and they had some good opportunities. They capitalized on Minnesota trying to get the puck out a little sloppily during the second period, the last 4 minutes. 2 times, moved right in, scored goals, and in the third period, after Minnesota moved to within 2, Larry Hanoff pulls a goal by just stepping in the slot, getting a shot right by Beaupre.
Vladimir Krutov scores 2 of the 6 Soviet goals. Now the presentation of the Labatt's Player of the Game Award.
Company Limited. Mr. Hudson will present the most valuable player of each team with a Panasonic cassette stereo player. The most valuable player on the Soviet All-Star team, number 9, Vladimir Krutov. The most valuable player on the Minnesota North Stars team is number 11, Tom McCarthy. Thank you, Mr. Hudson and Labatt, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being such a great audience.
So Tom McCarthy and Krutov receive their awards from John Hudson, Director of National Promotions for Labatt. Soviets win at 6-3. Don't go away. We'll have more for you. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
When you use a courier service overnight to the States, you may think your shipment's in reliable hands. Well, that may not always be true. They can use forwarders, commercial airlines, and methods that are ingenious, but sometimes not too reliable. Now there's Federal Express. They're so reliable, they guarantee overnight delivery or you don't pay. Now isn't that ingenious?
Zeller's spectacular white sale is made up of more colors than you can imagine, all priced lower than you ever imagined. Perk up your bathroom with Cambridge Canadian-made towel sets, just $8.97 for a set of 3. For the bedroom, Heritage 2 sheet ensembles in print designs are just the right accent. The twin size is $15 and save 30% on Zeller's collection of bedspreads. So get to Zeller's now and get all the colors you've been missing at savings you can't afford to miss. Zeller's, only you'll know how little you paid.
JVC Compact VCR is the world's smallest, lightest VCR ever. It's ideal for taping graduation, school plays, Halloween. It's loaded with features. Perfect for Christmas morning, Groundhog Day, Little League, Big League.
JVC's new compact VHS video system with the world's smallest, lightest VCR ever.
Buzz off, Buster.
Great sound, too.
Final score here at the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota. The Soviet Nationals defeating the Minnesota North Stars by a score of 6-3. And the Labatt Players of the Game just introduced out there at center ice. And the Labatt Player of the Game for the Minnesota North Stars, Tom McCarthy. Tom, I thought when you got that third North Star goal, your team was right back into it.
Yeah, I thought the momentum might have changed a little, but the Soviets play quite a consistent game, and they didn't get away from their game plan at all, and they kept coming at us. And unfortunately, they blocked off a lot of our passageways for scoring opportunities.
What about the pace of the game? Anything surprise you out there?
Not really. I've only experienced playing against them once earlier in my junior career, but they do have quite the agility and speed. And during the second period, it sort of started to catch up to us a little, but we seemed to come back and be as strong as we could be in the third.
I thought it was a tough situation for Marcus Matson to come in and join the North Stars back into the NHL. He played extremely well, especially in the first period when Cicerelli got the goal. He made a couple of great saves to keep you in the game.
Yeah, it is tough for a goaltender to walk onto a team that he really doesn't know how the defense play and the forwards play, and it's tougher for anyone. The goalie is the toughest player to walk on the team, but he did play exceptionally well and held us in the game early, and in the second period we seemed to lapse from our game plan, and they capitalized every chance they got.
Tom, we mentioned you scored a goal in that third period, and the North Stars got right back into it, and as we mentioned, we thought momentum was going to carry over. Here's a replay of that goal. Can you tell us a little bit?
Well, what happened is I sort of, the first shot I took was blocked, and I passed it back to Gordy Roberts, and then it left an opening for me in the slot, and I just sort of waited for a man to come, and I knew Tretiak goes down in the splits, and I just put it over his pad under his stick.
Well, they're an awesome team, the Soviets. They've dominated opposition from Canada for numerous years, but it's been a very competitive series, and now the onus is on the Philadelphia Flyers to salvage a tie.
Definitely. We're pulling for the Flyers as much as we are for the rest of the teams that competed in this little series, and it was just a pleasure to be a part of it, and hopefully we can do it again.
Tom, did you talk to anyone back home about the series? People there
yeah,
watching it?
Back in Toronto there was a lot of coverage on this, and some of my friends back home had called me over the weekend and wished me a little best of luck and things, and thankfully it paid off a little for me personally.
You're enjoying an outstanding season too. You're leading the North Stars in scoring, things falling in place.
Definitely. It's been 3 years of a little grind, and unfortunate accidents and injuries have kept me out for half a season, 2 years in a row, but now I'm very healthy, and hopefully it'll continue throughout the rest of my career.
Well, the North Stars have a young, very aggressive, good skating team, and fifth overall, tied in that position, so there's obviously some exciting days coming ahead.
Definitely. We have to get back on the winning track and be as consistent as we can throughout the rest of the season.
Okay, Tom McCarthy, congratulations on being the Labatt's Player of the Game, and continued good luck, you and the Minnesota North Stars.
Thank you very much.
Tom McCarthy of the Minnesota North Stars. They dropped this contest tonight to the Soviets by a score of 6-3. You know, the Soviets back in 1948 went to their first World Hockey Championships. They were observers that year, and then in 1954 entered their first World Championship. They won a gold medal, and it seems to be a regular winning habit now that the Soviets over the years have dominated World Hockey Championships and also their games against NHL opposition. They've won 22 games against NHL opponents while losing just 15. Vladimir Krutov, and you talk about excitement, well, he personifies that, and the national team of the Soviet Union has been an outstanding performer, and we'd like to congratulate Vladimir Krutov for being the Labatt's Player of the Game, and I'd be curious to hear his comments about this North Star opposition tonight.
Твое мнение о команде Северной Звезды?
Ну, команда Миннесота Норд довольно-таки хорошая команда, боевая.
It's a very good team, Minnesota North Stars, and they are very brave guys.
Now, when it was 1-0 for Minnesota, what was the concern of Vladimir and the Soviet team?
Как после того, как первый период закончился 0-1, как чувствовала себя ваша команда?
Ну, сегодня мы были, как говорится, посвежее немножко.
You see, we, if it's possible to use this word, we had been a little bit more fresher than before.
Чувствовал, что мы сейчас должны выйти и забить.
We had the will to score, and we had this feeling that we are going to score.
What about the day off yesterday? The team went to the football game, the National Football League game here. They did not practice. That obviously helped.
Да, мы немножко развеялись, немножко отдохнули ото льда.
Yes, we get rid of ice for a while, and we got some good impressions.
What was Vladimir's comments going to that football game and seeing 60,000 people in a dome stadium?
Как ты можешь прокомментировать этот футбольный матч, когда ты видел 65 тысяч зрителей?
Ну, игра, конечно, очень зрелищная.
Oh, it's a very spectacular game.
И, конечно, очень интересно было смотреть.
And for sure, it was very interesting to watch this game.
И эта игра, футбол, это американский, конечно, мужская такая игра.
And American football is a real game for men.
Как и хоккей.
As hockey is.
I bet they were watching the cheerleaders a little there last night too, was he?
Ну, немножко сегодня была тоже мужская игра хоккей.
Да, сегодня я говорю, как и хоккей.
Yes, as I told, hockey also is a game for men.
Okay, we have one game coming up against the Philadelphia Flyers. A victory there needed to win the series. The Flyers, of course, can tie it. What does Vladimir feel about that game coming up against Philadelphia?
если ничья. Если проигрываете, то будет ничья в серии. Что ты думаешь о предстоящей игре?
Ну, мы постараемся показать хороший хоккей, конечно, постараемся выиграть. Но спорт есть, конечно, спорт.
You see, I have to say that we are going to display good hockey, but we'll try to win. And don't forget that sport is sport.
Очень хорошо, спасибо. Congratulations, job well done.
Thank you.
And that's the star of the game from the Soviet Union, Labatt's player, and Vladimir Krutov, and boy, is he an exciting player to watch. We'll be back with our NHL Super Series in a moment. Jack's shutout streak came to an end tonight here at the Met Center in Bloomington. A remarkable 164 minutes and 10 seconds against NHL opposition. But from that point on, the Soviets took over, and they went on to defeat the North Stars 6-3. Tom Watt, your comments about this game?
Well, I thought certainly the Soviets, when they got the 3 quick goals at the end of the second period, that made a big difference in the hockey game. But you have to give Minnesota credit in the third period. I thought they came back very, very well. Eves had a very good opportunity before they scored the power play goal. He just missed. I thought that Tretiak made a good save there. And then, of course, they got the power play goal to make it 5-3. Payne had another good opportunity late in the period, but then when they didn't capitalize on that last opportunity by Payne, then coming back, the Soviets got the 1 goal and school was out.
You mentioned some of the highlights there, Tom.
Well, Eves, here's the first opportunity. The score is 5-2 at this point, and Murray Eves caught the puck in full flight here. He makes a lovely little move here. Howdy do around the defender, and then just quite can't get up with the puck and almost slides it under Tretiak. Now the score was 5-2 at this point, and had they scored there before the power play goal, well, it might have been a different hockey game. But they got their opportunity a little bit later on the power play, and as we saw with Tom McCarthy when he was in and describing it, actually the play here before it was made, Gordy Roberts, you don't see him here, that gave McCarthy the first opportunity. It gets blocked. Then McCarthy gets it. He throws it back to Roberts, and before Roberts gives him back the puck, when he makes the move here, it's Zhluktov that's chasing him, and as the puck gets slid back across, Roberts kept him in there, and that gave enough time to McCarthy to shoot the puck. Puck just goes over, and now they're back in the game. It's 5-3. Now, the Soviets, I thought, got a little lax late in the game, tried to throw it away, but of course they got the last goal and the school was out.
Thank you very much, Tom Watt, and on behalf of Don Chevrier, Lou Nanny, Tom Watt, Bernie Pascal saying goodnight from the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota.
NHL Soviet Series 83. Brought to you by Labatt's, brewers in Canada since 1828.
The NHL Soviet Series 83 is produced by Tom McKee and directed by Michael Lansbury. This NHL Soviet Series 83 is a special presentation of CTV Sports in association with TV Labatt. This program is copyright and strictly for the use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or exhibition of this telecast without the express written permission of the CTV Television Network and TV Labatt is strictly prohibited. Once again, the final score, the Soviet 6 and Minnesota 3. the Labatt's Players of the Game for the Soviet Union, Vladimir Krutov, and for the Minnesota North Stars, Tom McCarthy. Join us on Thursday, January 6th, when Series 83 moves to Philadelphia as the Soviet Union meet the Philadelphia Flyers. Game time 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check your local listings.